The land of Punt was a mysterious and fabled place. It held great importance for the ancient Egyptians. Punt was renowned for its abundant riches and exotic goods. Our primary knowledge of this distant land comes from ancient Egyptian sources. These records describe Punt as a source of valuable materials. Egyptians revered Punt and actively sought trade with its people. The precise nature of Punt itself, beyond its valuable resources, remains somewhat elusive to modern historians. Nevertheless, Egyptians wrote about this special land for many centuries, indicating its enduring significance in their worldview and economy. References to Punt span a remarkably long period in Egyptian history. They appear from the Old Kingdom around 2500 BCE right through to the late period after 700 BCE. This long history demonstrates a sustained and significant relationship between Egypt and Punt. The earliest accounts of Punt are somewhat general. However, later records, particularly from the New Kingdom, become much more detailed and illustrative. This extended period of interaction highlights Punt's consistent importance to the Egyptian state. Punt held a position of immense importance in ancient Egypt's network of trade. This was primarily because Punt supplied a variety of valuable goods that Egypt could not easily produce domestically. Many of these items were essential for important religious rituals. They also served as potent symbols of wealth, status, and royal power. Punt was perceived by the Egyptians as a distant land of plenty, almost legendary in its richness. Its diverse resources were highly coveted by the Egyptian elite, especially the pharaohs and high officials. The rulers of Egypt took considerable pride in their ability to acquire these exotic items from such a remote location. Beyond the acquisition of physical goods, successful trade with Punt brought considerable prestige to Egypt. It served as a clear demonstration of the pharaoh's power, influence, and divine backing. Gold was one of the most precious commodities that Egypt sought from the land of Punt. In ancient Egyptian culture, gold held profound symbolic meaning. It was considered to be the very flesh of the gods. Gold symbolized eternity, indestructibility, and divine power. Punt was recognized as one of the important sources for this highly prized metal. Egyptian goldsmiths were exceptionally skilled artisans. They transformed raw gold into stunning jewelry, intricate death masks for pharaohs, and sacred cult objects for temples. The regular influx of gold from Punt would have significantly supported these elaborate crafts. It also substantially added to the royal treasury, bolstering the economic power of the Egyptian state. The uses of gold in ancient Egypt were widespread and deeply integrated into expressions of power and piety. Royal tombs, such as the famous tomb of Tutankhamun, were lavishly filled with golden artifacts. These items were intended to accompany the deceased pharaoh into the afterlife. Temples dedicated to the gods were often adorned with gold leaf and electrum. Egypt, dominated by desert and the Nile Valley, had few native sources of high-quality timber. Fine woods like ebony were highly prized imports from Punt. Artisans crafted luxurious furniture and intricate inlays from ebony. Ivory, sourced from elephant tusks, was another sought-after material. Talented artisans carved ivory into beautiful designs. One of the most enduring mysteries surrounding the land of Punt is its exact geographical location. Despite numerous Egyptian texts and depictions referencing Punt, its precise whereabouts remain unknown to this day. This question has been the subject of intense scholarly debate for well over a century. The ancient Egyptian records provide many valuable clues, such as lists of trade goods and depictions of the Puntites and their environment. However, these records do not include any precise maps or geographical coordinates as we understand them. This uncertainty significantly adds to Punt's mystique and allure. Discovering the definitive location of Punt would represent a major archaeological breakthrough. The ongoing search continues to fascinate historians and archaeologists worldwide. Many scholars currently favour a location for Punt in the Horn of Africa. This broad region includes parts of modern-day Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, and the eastern highlands of Ethiopia. The types of goods consistently exported from Punt, as listed in Egyptian records, strongly support this theory. Scholars have explored links between Punt and biblical lands like Ophir. Ophir is described in the Bible as a source of immense wealth. King Solomon received gold and precious items from Ophir. The exact location of Ophir remains debated among scholars. This makes any direct link between Punt and Ophir speculative. The ancient Egyptians primarily travelled to the land of Punt by sea. Most expeditions involved carefully planned maritime voyages. Ships would depart from Egyptian ports on the Red Sea coast and sail southwards. This was a challenging and often perilous journey for ancient mariners. They needed robust, seaworthy ships and highly skilled sailors who understood the winds and currents of the Red Sea. The Egyptians developed important Red Sea ports, such as Wadi el-Jarf in the Old Kingdom and later Mersa Gawasis during the Middle Kingdom. These ports served as crucial departure and arrival points for the Punt expeditions. Depending on Punt's precise location and the specific route taken, some overland travel might also have been involved at the final stages of the journey. The logistics and challenges of these expeditions to Punt were considerable. Queen Hatshepsut's expedition to the land of Punt stands as one of the most famous and well-documented trading ventures in ancient history. This remarkable voyage took place around the year 1493 BCE during the prosperous 18th dynasty of Egypt's new kingdom. Hatshepsut was one of ancient Egypt's most powerful and successful female pharaohs. The expedition to Punt was a major highlight and significant achievement of her long and influential reign. She ensured that this grand undertaking was commemorated in extraordinary detail. These detailed records have provided invaluable information for historians studying ancient trade, shipbuilding, and international relations. Her motivations for launching such an ambitious expedition were likely a combination of economic, religious, and political factors. The most detailed account of Hatshepsut's Punt expedition is found at her magnificent mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri, located on the west bank of the Nile at Thebes. The walls of this temple are adorned with extensive and beautifully carved reliefs, accompanied by hieroglyphic inscriptions. The ancient Egyptians often referred to the land of Punt by a special and evocative name, Tanetja. This ancient Egyptian phrase is generally translated as land of the god or God's land. This particular designation strongly suggests that Punt held a profound and special religious significance for the Egyptians. It was clearly perceived as much more than just a source of material wealth and exotic commodities. Punt was viewed as a sacred, pure, and perhaps even primordial place. This elevated Punt above the status of ordinary foreign lands in the Egyptian worldview. It imbued the distant land with a distinct mystical quality and a sense of divine connection. This name itself reflects the deep reverence they held for Punt. There are several reasons why the Egyptians may have called Punt Tanetja. Punt's influence extended far beyond trade, permeating Egyptian art and religion. It was depicted as a land of abundance and beauty. Wall carvings showcased Punt's rich resources and exotic allure. Art celebrated Punt as a utopian paradise. Religiously, Punt was God's land, a sacred place. Expeditions to Punt were sacred pilgrimages. Queen Hatshepsut's journey exemplified its significance. Her expedition was documented in Deir el-Bahari. The return brought goods and tales of divine favour. Punt's legacy echoes through Egyptian mythology and identity. Despite Punt's prominent role in ancient Egyptian society, its exact location remains one of history's enduring mysteries. Scholars and historians have long debated where this enigmatic land might have been situated. Various theories suggest locations ranging from the Horn of Africa to the Arabian Peninsula. Recent archaeological findings and modern research have provided new insights into this ancient puzzle. Discoveries of ancient Egyptian inscriptions and depictions of Puntite flora and fauna have pointed to regions along the Red Sea coast. Some scholars argue that Punt could be located in present-day Eritrea or Somalia. Analysis of ancient resin samples found in Egyptian tombs supports this theory. These resins match the botanical characteristics of trees native to the Horn of Africa. This has led many to support the theory that Punt was indeed located in this region. Recent underwater archaeological missions have uncovered remnants of ancient shipwrecks along the Red Sea. These findings suggest established maritime routes between Egypt and the Puntite lands. The debate, however, is far from settled. Some historians propose that Punt could have been a network of trade hubs rather than a single location. This theory aligns with the diverse array of products sourced from Punt, including gold, incense, ebony, and exotic animals. Each discovery brings us closer to understanding the true nature of this ancient land. The quest to pinpoint Punt's location is a testament to the enduring fascination and curiosity that this legendary land inspires in modern scholars and historians. The search for Punt is not just about finding a place on the map, it is about connecting the dots of history and piecing together the legacy of a civilization that once thrived on the exchanges between these distant lands. The story of Punt, much like the land itself, continues to captivate and intrigue, reminding us of the rich tapestry of human history waiting to be explored. The ancient Egyptians created a civilization that thrived for millennia. This civilization was built on the fertile banks of the Nile River. The Nile's annual floods brought life-giving silt to the land. This allowed the Egyptians to cultivate crops and produce surplus agricultural goods. From the bustling marketplaces of their cities to the far reaches of the known world, the Egyptians were active traders. They exchanged goods, ideas, and culture with their neighbors. Their pharaohs, considered divine rulers, invested in expeditions to distant lands. These expeditions sought valuable resources like gold, timber, and exotic animals. Join us as we delve into the world of ancient Egyptian trade. It takes us from the sun-drenched banks of the Nile to the distant shores of Africa and the Near East. In the heart of every ancient Egyptian city lay the marketplace, a vibrant hub of activity from dawn till dusk. Here, locals and foreigners alike converged to barter for their daily needs and exotic luxuries. The air was filled with the aroma of spices, the sound of haggling, and the sight of colourful textiles. Farmers brought their bountiful harvests of grain, fruits, and vegetables. Fishermen displayed their catches of the day from the Nile. Artisans proudly presented their crafts, pottery, jewellery and furniture. The Egyptians developed a system to standardize trade. There was a unit of value based on the weight of copper. It served as a common denominator for comparing the value of different goods and services. The marketplace was not just an economic centre but also a social hub. Festivals and religious celebrations often took place in the marketplace, adding to the lively atmosphere. The Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, was also its main artery of trade. Boats laden with goods sailed up and down its length. They connected the northern delta region to the southern reaches of the kingdom. But the Egyptians were not content to limit themselves to the Nile Valley. They ventured beyond their borders, establishing trade routes across land and sea that stretched as far as the Arabian Peninsula, the Levant, and even Mesopotamia. Overland trade routes, often arduous journeys by donkey caravan, crossed the eastern desert to reach the Red Sea. Here Egyptian ships embarked on voyages to the land of Punt. Punt, believed to be located in present-day Somalia, was a source of exotic goods highly prized by the Egyptians: incense, ebony, ivory, gold, and even live baboons. These international trade routes were not without their dangers, yet the lure of profit and the desire for exotic goods fueled the Egyptians' adventurous spirit, making them adept sailors and shrewd traders. The Old Kingdom period, around 2686 to 2181 BCE, marked the emergence of a powerful centralized state in Egypt. During this era, the pharaohs consolidated their power and embarked on ambitious building projects, most notably the pyramids of Giza. These monumental structures stand as a testament to the pharaoh's authority and the economic prosperity of the Old Kingdom. Trade played a crucial role in fueling this economic growth. The pharaohs controlled all aspects of trade. They sent expeditions to distant lands in search of valuable resources. Timber from the cedar forests of Lebanon was essential for constructing ships, temples, and tombs. Gold, mined in the Nubian desert to the south, became synonymous with the pharaoh's power and divinity. The Old Kingdom laid the foundation for Egypt's future economic dominance. It established the systems and networks that would allow subsequent dynasties to further expand trade and secure Egypt's place as a major power in the ancient world. The Middle Kingdom, around 2055 to 1650 BCE, witnessed a resurgence of Egyptian power after a period of political instability. The pharaohs of this era focused on expanding their influence southwards into Nubia. Nubia, a region rich in gold, became a primary target for Egyptian expeditions. Gold played a central role in the Egyptian economy and belief system. It was considered the flesh of the gods, and possessing it was a sign of divine favour. The Egyptians established trading posts and fortresses along the Nile to secure their access to Nubian gold mines. They also developed sophisticated mining techniques to extract the precious metal from the earth. Nubian gold fueled the Middle Kingdom's prosperity. However, the Egyptians' desire for Nubian gold also led to conflict. These campaigns were costly and bloody, but they ultimately secured Egypt's dominance over Nubia and its valuable resources. The New Kingdom, around 1550 to 1069 BCE, marked the zenith of Egyptian power and prosperity. During this era, the Egyptian Empire reached its greatest territorial extent, stretching from Nubia in the south to Syria in the north. This expansion brought immense wealth and luxury goods into Egypt, transforming its culture and economy. The pharaohs of the New Kingdom launched ambitious military campaigns. These campaigns brought vast territories under Egyptian control and opened up new trade routes. Egyptian armies returned from their conquests laden with booty, gold, silver, precious stones, exotic animals, and even slaves. Trade with distant lands flourished during the New Kingdom. Egyptian ships sailed the Mediterranean, reaching the shores of Greece, Anatolia, and the Levant. These exotic goods became status symbols among the Egyptian elite, further stimulating trade and cultural exchange. The New Kingdom was an era of unprecedented wealth and luxury in ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians were renowned for their ambitious engineering projects, and the Canal of the Pharaohs stands as a testament to their ingenuity and determination. This ambitious waterway, also known as the Canal of the Seas, was an attempt to connect the Nile River to the Red Sea, creating a direct trade route between Egypt and the east. The first attempt to construct the canal is credited to Pharaoh Senusret III of the 12th dynasty, around 1878 to 1839 BCE. However, it was Pharaoh Necho II of the 26th dynasty, around 610 to 595 BCE, who is often associated with the canal's completion. The canal was a remarkable feat of engineering for its time. It stretched for over 100 miles, linking the Nile River to the Bitter Lakes, which were then connected to the Red Sea. The canal facilitated trade and transportation between Egypt and the East. It allowed Egyptian ships to bypass the treacherous journey around the Sinai Peninsula, reducing travel time and risks. However, the canal was not without its challenges. Despite its intermittent use, the Canal of the Pharaohs stands as a testament to the ancient Egyptians' vision and engineering prowess. The once mighty Egyptian empire did not last forever. Political instability, internal strife, and the rise of new powers in the region gradually eroded Egyptian dominance. By the late period, around 747 to 332 BCE, Egypt was a shadow of its former self, its economy weakened, and its trade networks disrupted. The decline of Egyptian trade was due to a combination of factors. Internally, political instability and internal conflicts weakened the central government's control over trade routes and resources. The rise of independent kingdoms in Nubia further disrupted trade to the south. External pressures also played a role. The emergence of new powers, such as the Assyrians, Babylonians, and Persians, challenged Egyptian hegemony in the Near East. The decline of Egyptian trade had a profound impact on the empire's economy and society. The decline of Egyptian trade marked the end of an era. The story of ancient Egyptian trade is a testament to the ingenuity, resourcefulness, and ambition of this remarkable civilization. From the bustling marketplaces of their cities to the far reaches of the known world, the Egyptians were active traders. They exchanged goods, ideas, and culture with their neighbors. The legacy of ancient Egyptian trade is still felt today. The Egyptians developed complex systems of trade and diplomacy. They created innovative technologies for transportation and navigation. They established trade routes that connected distant lands and cultures. These innovations laid the groundwork for the development of international trade in the centuries that followed. Though the pharaohs and pyramids may be long gone, the spirit of trade that animated ancient Egypt continues to inspire us today. As we navigate the complexities of global trade in the 21st century, we can learn valuable lessons from the ancient Egyptians who mastered the art of trade and left an indelible mark on the world. Thebes, the heart of ancient Egypt. Nestled on the banks of the Nile, Thebes was more than just a city. It was the beating heart of a civilization, showcasing human ambition, faith, and artistry. Join us as we uncover the rich history and significance of this ancient city, exploring its grand temples, its royal tombs, and its pivotal role in shaping the story of ancient Egypt. Thebes, even in its ruined state, whispers of a time when it was the religious epicenter of ancient Egypt, particularly during the powerful New Kingdom. Imagine a city alive with the sound of priestly chants, the air thick with the scent of incense burning in honor of Amun-Ra, the king of the gods. Here, within the colossal Karnak temple complex, the Egyptians paid homage to their deities in ceremonies of unparalleled grandeur. The temple, a sprawling testament to their faith, grew over centuries, each pharaoh adding his own mark to this sacred landscape. Luxor Temple, bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun, was a place for ordinary Egyptians to connect with the divine. Together, these two temples formed the spiritual heart of Thebes, a place where the earthly and the divine intertwined. The ancient Egyptians believed in a life after death, a belief reflected in the grandeur of their tombs. Just across the Nile, on the west bank, lies the Theban necropolis, a city of the dead as magnificent as the city of the living. Here, in the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens, pharaohs and their consorts were laid to rest, surrounded by treasures they believed would accompany them into the afterlife. The tomb of Tutankhamun, a relatively minor pharaoh, yielded a treasure trove of artifacts that captivated the world's imagination. But perhaps even more impressive are the elaborate tombs of rulers like Seti I and Ramses VI, their walls adorned with vibrant scenes from the Book of the Dead. Dotting the landscape are the mortuary temples, grand structures built not for the dead but for their memory. These temples, along with the royal tombs, stand as silent sentinels, guarding the secrets of Egypt's past. For centuries, Thebes was more than just a religious centre. It was the vibrant heart of a nation, the capital of a mighty empire. Imagine the bustling streets of Thebes during its zenith, a time when it was known as the City of 100 Gates. Thebes' rise to prominence began during the Middle Kingdom, when Mentuhotep II reunited the two lands after a period of division. He moved the capital to Thebes, laying the foundation for its future glory. But it was during the New Kingdom that Thebes truly flourished, reaching the pinnacle of its power and influence. Under the rule of powerful pharaohs like Thutmose III and Amenhotep III, Thebes became a metropolis, a hub of international trade and a centre of art and culture. The city's wealth was evident in its grand temples, its opulent palaces, and the luxurious lifestyle of its elite. Yet, even after losing its political dominance, Thebes remained a city of immense religious and cultural significance, a testament to its glorious past. Few sights on earth can compare to the awe-inspiring grandeur of the Karnak temple complex. Imagine standing before this colossal structure, its towering pylons reaching towards the heavens, a symbol of human devotion and architectural genius. Karnak was not simply a temple, it was a city within a city, a complex of temples, chapels and monuments dedicated to the Theban triad Amun-Ra, Mut and Khonsu. The hypostyle hall, with its forest of massive columns, is perhaps the most iconic image of Karnak. The construction of Karnak spanned over 2 millennia, with each successive pharaoh feeling compelled to leave his mark on this sacred complex. From the massive pylons and obelisks to the intricate reliefs and inscriptions that adorn its walls, Karnak stands as a testament to the ambition, ingenuity, and deep religious fervour of the ancient Egyptians. The story of Thebes is not just one of religious devotion and architectural grandeur, it is also a story of conflict and resilience. Thebes found itself at the heart of several pivotal moments in Egyptian history, times when the very existence of the kingdom was threatened. One such period was the Second Intermediate Period, a time of turmoil and division when Egypt fell under the rule of the Hyksos, a foreign power from the Levant. The Hyksos, with their superior weaponry and military tactics, conquered much of Lower Egypt, pushing the native Egyptian rulers south. Thebes, however, refused to submit. Theban rulers, seeing themselves as the true heirs to the pharaonic legacy, waged a long and bloody war against the Hyksos, a conflict that would determine the fate of Egypt. Finally, under the leadership of Ahmose I, the founder of the 18th dynasty, the Egyptians triumphed. Ahmose I, a Theban prince, drove the Hyksos out of Egypt, reuniting the two lands and ushering in a new era of Egyptian power and prosperity. Thebes, at its zenith, was more than just a political and religious capital. It was the cultural heart of ancient Egypt, a city alive with creativity and artistic innovation. Imagine the workshops of Thebes, filled with skilled artisans, sculptors, painters, weavers, their hands bringing life to stone, wood and fabric, transforming them into works of breathtaking beauty. The tombs and temples of the Theban necropolis offer a glimpse into this vibrant artistic tradition. The walls of these structures are adorned with intricate murals and carvings, each one a masterpiece that speaks volumes about the artistic skill and the religious beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. Theban artists and craftsmen were renowned throughout the ancient world for their skill. Thebes became a centre for the production of luxury goods, from exquisite jewellery and finely crafted furniture to colourful textiles and beautifully painted pottery. Thebes' rise to prominence was fuelled, in part, by its strategic location. Situated on the banks of the Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, Thebes controlled the agricultural wealth of the surrounding region. Thebes' location also made it a natural hub for trade. Caravans laden with exotic goods from Nubia to the south and Punt to the east converged on Thebes, bringing with them gold, ivory, ebony, incense and other treasures. The wealth generated by this trade enriched the city, filling the coffers of the pharaohs and enabling them to embark on ambitious building projects and military campaigns. The opulence of Thebes was evident in its grand temples and monuments, its luxurious palaces and the lavish lifestyle of its elite. Even the mightiest of empires are not immune to the tides of time. Thebes, for centuries the heart of a civilization, eventually experienced a slow decline, its power and influence waning as new powers rose to prominence in the ancient world. The first blow came in 663 BCE, when the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal sacked Thebes. The Assyrians, a ruthless and efficient military force, had conquered much of the Near East, and Egypt, weakened by internal strife and economic decline, was unable to withstand their onslaught. The sack of Thebes by the Assyrians was a traumatic event for the Egyptians. The city, once considered invincible, was plundered and burned, its temples desecrated, its treasures carried off to Assyria as spoils of war. Thebes never fully recovered from the Assyrian sack. Centuries later, under Roman rule, Thebes was again sacked, this time after a revolt against Roman authority. Thebes may lie in ruins, its grand temples and palaces reduced to rubble, but its story continues to resonate across the millennia. The remains of this once great city, spread across the modern-day city of Luxor, are now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to their enduring historical, architectural and cultural significance. The Karnak and Luxor temple complexes, the Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens, and the numerous other tombs, temples and monuments scattered across the Theban necropolis offer an unparalleled glimpse into the world of ancient Egypt. Today, Thebes is one of Egypt's most popular tourist destinations, attracting visitors from all corners of the globe. Thebes was more than just a physical city. It was a powerful symbol woven deeply into the fabric of Egyptian mythology and religious belief. The Egyptians believed that Thebes was the earthly counterpart of the primordial mound that emerged from the waters of chaos at the beginning of creation. It was here, in the heart of Thebes, that the god Amun-Ra, the king of the gods, was said to have first emerged, bringing light and order to the world. Thebes' association with Amun-Ra elevated it to a position of supreme religious significance. The Opet Festival, one of the most important events in the Egyptian religious calendar, was celebrated annually in Thebes. Thebes, in the eyes of the ancient Egyptians, was a sacred city, a place where the boundaries between the earthly and the divine were blurred. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the ancient city of Thebes. From its grand temples that scraped the sky to the whispers of pharaohs in the Valley of the Kings, Thebes stands as a testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and the enduring power of belief. Welcome to ancient Egypt, a land of breathtaking pyramids, mystical deities, and unparalleled innovation. But beyond the monuments and mythology lies a fascinating story of how the ancient Egyptians maintained their health and nourished their bodies. Wellness was not just a personal endeavour, but a cultural cornerstone, deeply intertwined with their spiritual beliefs and daily practices. Join us as we explore the remarkable world of Egyptian medicine and diets, uncovering the secrets of their holistic approach to well-being. The ancient Egyptians were pioneers of medicine, combining natural remedies with spiritual practices. Their medical knowledge evolved over millennia, influenced by their observations of nature and the human body. They documented their knowledge in papyri, such as the Ebers papyrus, which contains over 700 remedies and treatments, showcasing their extensive understanding of medicinal plants and their applications. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, one of the earliest known surgical manuals, highlights their advanced surgical techniques and anatomical knowledge. These texts reveal an intricate understanding of the human body and diseases developed through centuries of practice and study. Temples dedicated to Imhotep were not only places of worship, but also centers for healing, reflecting the integration of medicine and religion in their culture. These sanctuaries offered treatments that combined prayers, rituals, and practical remedies, evolving into sophisticated centers of medical practice. This holistic approach to health, balancing the physical and spiritual realms, was a cornerstone of ancient Egyptian medicine, influencing practices for generations. The ancient Egyptians relied on the natural world for healing. Honey was prized for its antiseptic properties and used to treat wounds, while garlic was a common remedy for heart health and stamina. Willow bark, a natural source of salicylic acid, was used to alleviate pain, foreshadowing the development of aspirin thousands of years later. They also excelled in treating physical injuries. Splints made from reeds and bandages soaked in medicinal oils were used to set fractures. For infections, they employed antiseptic poultices made of resin, honey, and even copper salts, which have antibacterial properties. Dental health was a significant concern. The Egyptians used tooth powders made from crushed eggshells and ash to clean their teeth, though they faced challenges due to the abrasive nature of their bread, which wore down enamel over time. Aloe vera was another versatile remedy, used to soothe skin irritations and burns. Poppy seeds were utilized for their sedative properties, helping to relieve pain and induce sleep. Juniper berries and their oil were used to treat digestive issues and as a diuretic. Castor oil was a common laxative, aiding in digestive health and relieving constipation. A balanced diet was central to Egyptian life. Bread and beer were staples, providing carbohydrates and essential nutrients. Bread was made from emmer wheat or barley, and beer was brewed from the same grains, sometimes flavored with dates or herbs for added nutrition. Their meals included vegetables such as onions, leeks, and garlic, which were rich in vitamins and believed to have medicinal benefits. Fruits like figs, dates, and melons were common, adding natural sweetness and essential hydration to their diet. Fish from the Nile was an important protein source, supplemented by poultry and eggs. While red meat was reserved for the wealthy or special occasions, ordinary Egyptians had access to lentils, chickpeas, and other legumes for protein. Their reliance on whole grains made their diet high in fiber, which supported digestive health. However, the sand and grit from grinding flour often led to severe dental wear, causing pain and infections. Nuts and seeds such as almonds, sesame seeds, and flax seeds were also part of their diet, providing healthy fats and additional protein. Dairy products like cheese and milk were consumed, offering calcium and other essential nutrients for bone health. Herbs and spices, including coriander, cumin, and fenugreek, were used to flavor their food and were believed to have health benefits. Honey was a natural sweetener and was also used for its medicinal properties, adding both flavor and health benefits to their diet. The Nile River was the heart of Egyptian life. Its annual floods brought fertile silt, making agriculture possible. Crops like wheat, barley, flax, and vegetables thrived along its banks, ensuring a steady food supply. The river also provided medicinal resources. Papyrus was not only used for writing, but also as material for wound dressings. Plants like lotus flowers and water reeds were incorporated into remedies for ailments, ranging from skin conditions to digestive disorders. The cycle of planting and harvesting was closely tied to the Nile's rhythm. This abundance allowed the Egyptians to experiment with a wide range of ingredients for both sustenance and healing. The Nile was also a vital source of fish, which was a key protein in the Egyptian diet. Advanced irrigation techniques allowed Egyptians to maximize their agricultural output. Medical knowledge was often recorded on papyrus, ensuring the transmission of healing practices across generations. The legacy of ancient Egyptian wellness lives on. Many of their remedies, like honey for wounds and herbal teas for digestion, are still valued today. Modern herbal medicine and essential oils also draw from ancient practices. Their understanding of nutrition and the connection between diet and health was far ahead of its time. Today's Mediterranean diet and healthy eating trends echo their principles. Their approach to wellness reflected their reverence for balance, or ma'at, the harmony that governed all aspects of life. This balance is mirrored in modern wellness practices like yoga and meditation. From the food they ate to the medicines they crafted, the ancient Egyptians demonstrated a profound connection to the world around them. This connection continues in today's natural remedies and farm-to-table movements. Beyond their renowned remedies and diet, the ancient Egyptians also practiced surgery with remarkable skill. They employed a variety of tools such as scalpels, forceps and probes, many of which have been discovered in tombs, showcasing their advanced understanding of medical procedures. Surgical techniques included trepanation, where holes were drilled into the skull to treat head injuries or illnesses, and the use of sutures made from plant fibers or animal sinews to close wounds. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, a medical text dating back to around 1600 BCE, provides detailed descriptions of these procedures, highlighting the Egyptians' systematic approach to surgery. They also practiced dentistry, extracting teeth and treating dental abscesses with precision. The combination of surgical skill and their vast knowledge of medicinal plants allowed them to perform complex procedures while minimizing pain and infection risks. The ancient Egyptians' contributions to surgery laid the groundwork for future medical advancements, demonstrating their ingenuity and dedication to the well-being of their people. In summary, the ancient Egyptians excelled in various aspects of wellness, from their innovative surgical practices and advanced medical tools to their comprehensive understanding of medicinal plants and balanced diets. Their holistic approach to health and medicine not only ensured the well-being of their people, but also laid a strong foundation for future generations to build upon. In ancient Egypt, medicine was deeply intertwined with magic and religion. Illnesses were believed to be caused by supernatural forces, requiring both medical knowledge and spiritual intervention. Priests, skilled healers, performed rituals to appease gods and expel spirits. Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess, was revered in medicine. Her priests channeled her power through elaborate ceremonies. Thoth, god of wisdom, bestowed medical knowledge. Amulets and charms protected and aided recovery. Inscribed with sacred texts, they invoked divine protection. The Ebers papyrus blends spells and medical treatments. The heart was seen as the center of thought and health. During mummification, the heart was carefully preserved. Magic and religion ensured holistic well-being. This integration highlights the complexity of ancient Egyptian society and their understanding of the human condition. The diet in ancient Egypt varied significantly between social classes, reflecting wealth and status. The wealthy enjoyed diverse meals with meats, fish, fruits and vegetables. Bread and beer were staples, but quality varied by class. Commoners had simpler diets, mainly bread, beer and vegetables. Meat was a rare luxury for the working class. The Nile's bounty ensured basic foodstuffs for all. Feasts showcased wealth and reinforced social bonds. Food was a marker of status and cultural expression. Ancient Egyptian medicine was advanced and profoundly influential on later civilizations. Their knowledge of herbal remedies, surgical techniques and holistic health laid the groundwork for future practices. The Greeks adopted many Egyptian practices, integrating them into their own medical theories. Hippocrates drew inspiration from Egyptian medical texts. The Romans expanded upon Egyptian medical knowledge. Galen referenced Egyptian practices in his works. Egyptian medical papyri influenced both the ancient world and Renaissance scholars. Their emphasis on mind, body and spirit echoes in modern holistic medicine. The legacy of ancient Egyptian medicine continues to inspire contemporary practices. Understanding their influence provides a broader perspective on medical evolution. It highlights the importance of preserving and learning from ancient wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this journey into their remarkable world. Stay tuned for more explorations of the past. Explore more about ancient Egypt in our next episode. Like, share and subscribe to delve deeper into the mysteries of history. Abydos. The very name evokes a sense of mystery and ancient power, a place where history and myth intertwine. Located on the west bank of the Nile in Upper Egypt, Abydos is one of the oldest and most important archaeological sites in all of Egypt, a cradle of civilization. For millennia, Abydos has been a place of pilgrimage, a sacred ground where ancient Egyptians came to honor their gods and seek a connection to the afterlife. Abydos was more than just a city. It was a symbol of the eternal cycle of life, death and resurrection, a testament to the beliefs of an ancient people. Even today, standing among the ruins of its temples and tombs, one can feel the weight of history and the echoes of a civilization long gone, yet still present in spirit. For it was here, in the sands of Abydos, that the story of ancient Egypt began to unfold, a story that continues to captivate the world. Here, pharaohs were laid to rest, their tombs filled with treasures and offerings for the afterlife, ensuring their journey to eternity. And it was here that the cult of Osiris, god of the underworld and rebirth, took root and flourished, shaping the spiritual landscape of ancient Egypt. Abydos was never truly abandoned, its spiritual significance enduring through the ages. Even after its political and economic power waned, it remained a sacred site, a place where pilgrims continued to come to pay homage to Osiris and pray for his blessings, a tradition that persists to this day. Over the centuries, the sands of the desert slowly encroached upon the city, burying its temples and tombs beneath their protective embrace, preserving them for future generations. But the legacy of Abydos lived on, preserved in the myths and legends passed down through generations of Egyptians, a testament to its enduring influence. It was not until the 19th century that archaeologists began to excavate the ruins of Abydos, uncovering its secrets and revealing the splendor of this once great city, a city that had been lost to time. Today, Abydos is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, its temples and tombs a testament to the ingenuity, artistry and enduring beliefs of the ancient Egyptians, a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder. Abydos first rose to prominence in the pre-dynastic period around 3100 BC, when Egypt was in its infancy, a time when the foundations of one of the world's greatest civilizations were being laid. It was during this time that the first pharaohs, rulers who united Upper and Lower Egypt under their rule, chose Abydos as their final resting place, marking it as a site of immense importance. They constructed elaborate tombs known as mastabas, which were rectangular structures with flat roofs and sloping sides, built of mud brick and often decorated with colorful paintings and intricate reliefs. These early tombs were not just places of burial, but also symbols of power and authority, reflecting the pharaoh's divine status. They were filled with grave goods, including pottery, jewelry, weapons and even boats, intended to accompany the deceased into the afterlife, ensuring they had everything they needed for their journey. The The tombs at Abydos provide us with invaluable insights into the beliefs, rituals and social structures of these early Egyptians, offering a window into their world. One of the most significant discoveries at Abydos was the tomb of King Jer, one of the earliest pharaohs of the first dynasty, whose reign marked a pivotal moment in Egyptian history. Jer's tomb was a large and impressive structure surrounded by subsidiary graves for his family and retainers, indicating his high status and the reverence in which he was held. Inside the tomb, archaeologists discovered fragments of Jer's funerary equipment, including a fragment of his arm, which had been ripped off and placed in a separate box, a practice that remains a mystery. The presence of such elaborate tombs at Abydos suggests that the city was already a place of great religious significance in the pre-dynastic period, long before the rise of the pharaohs. It was believed to be the burial place of Webwawet, the jackal god of the dead, who was closely associated with the king and the afterlife, guiding the souls of the deceased. The association with Webwawet, combined with the presence of royal tombs, made Abydos a powerful symbol of death and resurrection, a place where the pharaohs could transition to the afterlife and join the company of the gods, ensuring their eternal life and divine status. As Egypt entered the early dynastic period, around 3000 to 2686 BC, Abydos continued to flourish as a necropolis and a centre of religious activity. However, it was during this time that a new cult began to emerge in Abydos, one that would eventually overshadow all others, the cult of Osiris. The origins of Osiris are shrouded in mystery, but he is typically depicted as a mummified king, often with green skin symbolizing rebirth, wearing the Atef crown and holding the crook and flail, symbols of kingship and fertility. According to Egyptian mythology, Osiris was a benevolent king who ruled Egypt with his wife Isis. He taught the Egyptians agriculture, law and civilization, but was murdered by his jealous brother, Set. Osiris's death and resurrection became a central myth in Egyptian religion, symbolizing the cycle of life, death and rebirth. His story resonated deeply with the Egyptians, who saw in Osiris a promise of eternal life after death. As the cult of Osiris spread throughout Egypt, Abydos became one of the most important pilgrimage sites in the country, attracting countless devotees. Egyptians from all walks of life flocked to Abydos, hoping to be buried near the god Osiris, or at least to have their names inscribed on stelae or other monuments erected in the sacred precinct. They believed that proximity to Osiris would increase their chances of a favorable judgment in the afterlife. Pilgrims would offer prayers, sacrifices, and votive offerings to Osiris, hoping to gain his favor and ensure their resurrection. The pilgrimage to Abydos was a journey of faith, a chance to connect with the divine and seek solace in the face of death. The spiritual atmosphere of Abydos provided comfort to many. The influx of pilgrims to Abydos had a profound impact on the city. Temples and shrines were built to accommodate the growing number of worshippers. Cenotaphs, symbolic tombs that did not contain the body of the deceased, were constructed by wealthy Egyptians who could not afford to be buried at Abydos but wanted to be symbolically linked to the god. Abydos became a bustling centre of religious activity, its streets thronged with priests, pilgrims and merchants. The pilgrimage to Abydos was more than just a religious duty. It was also an opportunity for social and economic exchange. People from different parts of Egypt would converge on Abydos, bringing with them their customs, beliefs and goods. The city became a melting pot of Egyptian culture, a place where ideas were shared and traditions were transmitted, enriching the cultural tapestry of Egypt. In ancient Egypt, the concept of eternity was not just a distant dream, but a tangible reality. The Egyptians built their homes, not just for the living, but also for the afterlife. They believed that the soul would continue to live on, needing a place to reside. Tombs were constructed with meticulous care, designed to last forever. These structures were more than just resting places. They were eternal homes for the departed. The walls were adorned with scenes of daily life, ensuring that the deceased could continue their existence in the afterlife. The belief in an eternal house was deeply rooted in their culture. Every detail, from the architecture to the inscriptions, was meant to provide comfort and security for the soul's journey beyond death. This profound connection between life and death, between the temporal and the eternal, is what made ancient Egyptian civilization so unique and enduring. Their houses for eternity stand as a testament to their unwavering faith in the afterlife. The stones of Abydos tell a story that spans millennia. Each carving, each inscription is a testament to the lives and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. It's fascinating to think about how these stones have witnessed the ebb and flow of history, standing silent yet eloquent in their endurance. At Abydos, the gods were honored with grand temples and intricate rituals. The ancient Egyptians believed that Abydos was the gateway to the afterlife, a sacred place where they could connect with the divine. The devotion and reverence shown here reflect a deep spiritual connection that transcended daily life. Beyond the famous temples, Abydos is home to numerous other monuments that add to its rich tapestry. From lesser-known chapels to ancient tombs, each structure contributes to the overall significance of this sacred city. These monuments, though perhaps not as renowned, are equally important in understanding the full scope of Abydos's historical and cultural landscape. The legacy of Abydos is not just in its ancient stones, but in the wealth of knowledge it has provided to modern archaeology. Each discovery here has helped piece together the complex puzzle of Egypt's past. The significance of Abydos continues to grow as new findings shed light on the lives and beliefs of those who once walked these grounds. In many ways, the story of Abydos is still being written, one artifact at a time. The sands of time have long concealed the daily lives of those who lived in ancient Egypt. Yet beneath the scorching desert sun, whispers from the past remain. Tombs, adorned with intricate paintings and carvings, offer us a unique window into their world. These vibrant scenes, preserved for thousands of years, provide a glimpse into the lives of ancient Egyptians, including their children. The Egyptians believed in life after death, a realm mirroring their earthly existence. They meticulously decorated their tombs with scenes from their daily lives, hoping to carry these experiences into the afterlife. These images, frozen in time, offer us invaluable insights into their customs, beliefs, and even the games their children played. Stepping into the painted chambers of ancient Egyptian tombs is like stepping back in time. We are transported to a world teeming with activity where children are not merely passive observers but active participants in the bustle of daily life. The tombs, particularly those from the Old and Middle Kingdoms, are replete with scenes of children engaging in various activities. These images reveal a society that cherished childhood and recognized the importance of play. Children are often depicted alongside adults participating in chores and celebrations. Their presence in these scenes suggests a close-knit family structure where children were integral members of the household and community. The tomb of Mereruka, a high-ranking official from the 6th dynasty, offers a captivating glimpse into the world of ancient Egyptian children. Among the many vibrant scenes adorning its walls, we find depictions of children engaged in playful acrobatics. These agile youngsters twist and contort their bodies into impressive poses, showcasing their flexibility and balance. One scene depicts a group of children forming a human pyramid, their small bodies balanced precariously atop one another. Another shows a young girl gracefully arched backward, her hands touching the ground behind her. These acrobatic displays were not merely forms of amusement. They were likely part of religious festivals and celebrations, adding an element of spectacle and entertainment to these important events. The rock-cut tombs of Beni Hassan, dating back to the Middle Kingdom, provide further evidence of the importance of movement and dance in ancient Egyptian culture. These tombs, carved meticulously into the cliffs, stand as silent witnesses to the vibrant life that once thrived here. The tombs, belonging to provincial governors, feature scenes of children engaged in a whirling dance, their bodies spinning and twirling with joyous abandon. These images capture the essence of youthful exuberance and the communal spirit of the time. Similarly, the tomb of Keti showcases children caught in mid-twirl, their colourful garments swirling around them like vibrant blossoms. The vivid colours and dynamic poses bring these ancient scenes to life, allowing us to glimpse the past. These whirling dances, likely accompanied by music and rhythmic clapping, were not only a form of entertainment but also a way for children to express themselves creatively and connect with their cultural heritage. Through these dances, they celebrated their identity and passed down traditions from one generation to the next, ensuring the continuity of their rich cultural tapestry. The scorching Egyptian sun dictated much of daily life, and clothing was no exception. The intense heat and relentless sun shaped the way ancient Egyptians dressed, influencing their choice of materials and styles. Ancient Egyptian children, much like their adult counterparts, donned light and airy garments suited to the hot climate. These garments were designed to keep them cool and comfortable, allowing them to go about their daily activities without being hindered by the oppressive heat. Linen, a fabric woven from the flax plant, was the material of choice, its breathable nature providing comfort in the sweltering heat. The process of weaving linen was an essential skill, passed down through generations, ensuring that everyone had access to this vital fabric. Young children, particularly boys, were often depicted wearing little to no clothing, their bare skin allowing them to stay cool under the desert sun. This minimalistic approach to clothing was practical and efficient, helping them avoid overheating. Girls, as they grew older, would wear simple linen dresses, often held up by straps over the shoulders. These dresses were not only functional, but also allowed for a degree of modesty as they transitioned into adulthood. These lightweight garments allowed for ease of movement, essential for active children engaged in play and exploration. The freedom of movement provided by their clothing enabled them to fully enjoy their childhood, exploring the world around them without restriction. The ancient Egyptian concept of childhood extended beyond mere survival. It encompassed play and imagination. Archaeological excavations at Kahun, a workers' town associated with the pyramid of Senusret II, have unearthed a treasure trove of children's toys, providing tangible evidence of their playful pursuits. Among the finds are balls made of woven fibres, their simple construction belying hours of fun spent tossing and catching. Wooden sticks, resembling miniature javelins, hint at games of skill and accuracy, while small carved figurines of animals ignite the imagination, transporting children to a world of make-believe. These toys, simple yet enduring, offer a poignant reminder that the desire for play transcends time and culture. Play in ancient Egypt was not limited to physical activity, it also encompassed games of skill and strategy. These games were an integral part of daily life and were enjoyed by both the young and the old. Board games, in particular, were popular pastimes, enjoyed by people of all ages, including children. These games were often played in the evenings or during festivals, bringing families and communities together. Two of the most well-known ancient Egyptian board games are Senet and Mehen. These games have been discovered in various archaeological sites, indicating their widespread popularity. Senet, a game of strategy played on a long, narrow board with 30 squares, involved moving pieces according to the roll of dice. The game required careful planning and foresight to outmaneuver opponents. The game, often found depicted in tomb paintings, was believed to have religious significance, representing the journey of the soul through the afterlife. It was thought that mastering Senet could help one navigate the challenges of the afterlife. Mayhen, named after the snake god, was played on a circular board resembling a coiled serpent. The unique design of the board added an extra layer of complexity to the game. Players would move their pieces around the board, attempting to capture their opponent's pieces. The game required strategic thinking and a deep understanding of the rules to succeed. These games not only provided entertainment, but also honed children's cognitive skills and strategic thinking. They were a vital part of education, teaching important life skills through play. The Nile River, the lifeblood of ancient Egypt, was not only a source of sustenance but also a playground for children seeking respite from the desert heat. Swimming was a popular activity, and tomb scenes often depict children frolicking in the river's cool waters. One scene shows a group of children splashing and playing in the shallows, their laughter echoing through the ages. Another depicts children swimming alongside adults, their bodies sleek and agile in the water. The Nile, despite its inherent dangers, provided a much-needed escape from the scorching sun, offering children a chance to cool off, socialize, and engage in carefree play. The scenes etched into the walls of ancient Egyptian tombs offer us a poignant and enduring glimpse into the lives of children who lived thousands of years ago. These images, imbued with a sense of timelessness, remind us that childhood, with its inherent joys and wonder, transcends time and cultural boundaries. While our knowledge of ancient Egyptian childhood remains fragmentary, these glimpses into their world paint a picture of a society that valued play, creativity, and the importance of family. The toys they cherished, the games they played, and the laughter that undoubtedly filled their days are testaments to the universality of childhood experiences. Deep in the heart of Nubia, where the Nile River flows through the sands of time, lies a land steeped in history and mystery. This ancient region, with its vast deserts and fertile riverbanks, has been a cradle of civilization for millennia. Here stand the colossal temples of Abu Simbel, a marvel of ancient engineering and artistry. These towering monuments, carved directly into the sandstone cliffs, are guarded by 4 colossal statues of Ramesses II. Each statue, with its intricate details and imposing presence, tells the story of a time when pharaohs ruled with divine authority. Their imposing figures, each reaching over 65 feet in height, have captivated travelers and explorers for centuries. These statues are not just stone carvings, they are a testament to the grandeur and ambition of ancient Egypt. Abu Simbel is more than just a temple complex. It's a testament to the power and ambition of one of ancient Egypt's most celebrated pharaohs. The walls of the temples are adorned with intricate hieroglyphics and carvings that depict the might and achievements of Ramesses II. The temple's location was strategically chosen. Nestled on the border between Egypt and Nubia, it served as a sentinel, watching over the lands and resources that were vital to the kingdom's prosperity. It sits on the border between Egypt and Nubia, a region rich in gold and other resources. The Nile River, flowing serenely nearby, was a lifeline, providing water, transportation and sustenance to the people of this ancient land. The imposing facade served as a powerful statement to any who dared to enter Egypt's southern frontier. It was a declaration of strength and a warning to potential invaders. It declared the might and authority of Ramesses II, reminding all of his dominion over these lands. The inscriptions and carvings are not just decorative, they are a chronicle of a ruler's legacy, etched in stone for eternity. As the sun sets over Abu Simbel, casting long shadows over the statues, one can't help but feel a sense of awe. The guardians of Nubia stand as silent sentinels, watching over the land and its people, a reminder of a glorious past that continues to inspire and captivate. Under the starlit sky, the temples of Abu Simbel come alive with a mystical glow. The guardians of Nubia, bathed in the soft light, seem almost ethereal, as if whispering the secrets of the ages to those who listen. Visitors from around the world come to witness this marvel, their faces reflecting the wonder and admiration that these ancient guardians inspire. The legacy of Rameses II and the grandeur of Abu Simbel continue to leave an indelible mark on all who behold them. Rameses II, who reigned from 1279 to 1213 BC, is considered one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. His reign was marked by ambitious building projects, military campaigns, and a flourishing of art and culture. Abu Simbel, his most impressive architectural achievement, was intended to immortalize his legacy and honor the gods of ancient Egypt. Over time, the sands of the desert swallowed Abu Simbel. The temples lay forgotten for centuries, their existence known only through local legends. Then, in 1813, Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt stumbled upon the site. He was captivated by the sight of the colossal statues peeking out from beneath the sand. A monumental rescue, the Great Relocation. In the 1960s, the construction of the Aswan High Dam posed a significant threat to Abu Simbel. The rising waters of Lake Nasser, the reservoir created by the dam, would have submerged the temples entirely.
To save this ancient wonder, UNESCO launched an unprecedented international rescue operation. The temples were carefully cut into massive blocks, each weighing between 20 and 30 tons. These blocks were then transported and reassembled on higher ground 200 feet above the original site.
The relocation was a remarkable feat of engineering and international cooperation, ensuring the preservation of Abu Simbel for generations to come. The temples of Abu Simbel are not just architectural marvels, they are a testament to the grandeur and ambition of ancient Egyptian civilization. Nestled on the western bank of Lake Nasser, these temples have stood the test of time, witnessing the rise and fall of empires. Abu Simbel consists of two temples. These monumental structures were originally carved out of the mountainside during the reign of Pharaoh Ramesses II in the 13th century BC. They were intended to demonstrate the power and divine nature of the pharaoh. The larger temple, the Great Temple, is dedicated to Ramesses II himself, as well as the gods Amun, Ra-Horakhti and Ptah. The facade of the Great Temple is dominated by four colossal statues of Ramesses II, each standing over 20 meters tall, gazing out across the desert. The interior is a labyrinth of halls and chambers adorned with intricate reliefs and towering statues. These halls were designed to impress and inspire awe, with every surface covered in detailed carvings that tell the story of Ramesses II's reign and his divine right to rule.
The small temple, is dedicated to Ramesses II's beloved wife, Queen Nefertari, and the goddess Hathor. This temple is equally impressive, with its own set of statues and carvings that celebrate the queen's beauty and grace. The walls of both temples are covered in detailed carvings. These carvings are not just decorative, they are a visual record of the beliefs, achievements, and daily life of the ancient Egyptians. These carvings depict scenes from Ramesses II's reign, including his military victories, religious ceremonies, and family life. They provide a glimpse into the world of ancient Egypt, showing us the pharaoh's prowess in battle, his devotion to the gods, and his role as a family man.
The vibrant colours, miraculously preserved for millennia, bring these ancient stories to life. The hues of red, blue, yellow and green are as vivid today as they were thousands of years ago. allowing us to connect with the past in a way that words alone cannot convey. As we explore these temples, we are not just looking at stone and paint. We are stepping into a world that has been carefully crafted to honor the gods and immortalize the legacy of one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. One of the most remarkable features of Abu Simbel is its astronomical alignment. Twice a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd, the rising sun penetrates the great temple's inner sanctuary. The sunlight illuminates the statues of Ramesses II and the gods Amun and Ra-Horakhti, bathing them in a golden glow. This phenomenon, a testament to the ancient Egyptians' advanced understanding of astronomy, is believed to have coincided with significant events in Ramesses II's reign, such as his coronation or the start of the harvest season. The story of Abu Simbel is one of survival against all odds. Over the millennia, the temples have withstood the ravages of time, including natural disasters such as sandstorms and earthquakes. Yet they have remained remarkably well preserved, a testament to the skill and dedication of the ancient builders. From its creation by a powerful pharaoh to its rediscovery by intrepid explorers and its ultimate relocation to escape the rising waters, the history of Abu Simbel is a tale of human ingenuity and perseverance. The temples are a source of inspiration, reminding us of the incredible achievements of the past and the importance of preserving our cultural heritage. It serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring legacy of ancient Egypt and the importance of preserving our shared cultural heritage for generations to come. The ongoing preservation efforts at Abu Simbel ensure that this remarkable site will continue to inspire and educate people for many years to come. As we look to the future, we must remain committed to protecting and celebrating the rich history and cultural achievements of our ancestors. Egypt, ancient, storied, and for centuries ruled by the Greek Ptolemies, stood as a beacon of culture and power. Alexandria, its capital, was famed for its library and lighthouse, a hub of knowledge and trade. But the dynasty's last ruler, Cleopatra VII, was different. She embraced Egyptian language and religion, presenting herself as the goddess Isis. A shrewd leader, Cleopatra fought to keep Egypt independent as the Ptolemaic Golden Age faded. Rome's grip on Egypt tightened gradually, turning the Ptolemies into dependent clients. Cleopatra, recognizing Rome's dominance, forged alliances with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony, hoping to secure Egypt's future. Their partnership, both romantic and political, challenged Rome's new leader, Octavian, setting the stage for a final confrontation. Rome itself was in turmoil. The Republic, overwhelmed by its own expansion, was torn by social strife and civil war. Ambitious generals like Marius, Sulla and Pompey vied for power, eroding old Republican values and paving the way for warlords to dominate the political landscape. The assassination of Julius Caesar plunged Rome into chaos, leading to the rise of the second triumvirate, Octavian, Antony and Lepidus, who divided the Roman world among themselves. Antony took the east and soon allied with Cleopatra, drawn by her resources and charisma. Their alliance, both strategic and passionate, aimed to secure their power, but would ultimately provoke Rome's wrath and set the stage for a final confrontation. The showdown came at Actium in 31 BC. Antony and Cleopatra's fleet was outmaneuvered by Octavian's admiral Agrippa. Cleopatra's sudden retreat led Antony to abandon the fight, sealing their defeat. Their dream of an Eastern empire collapsed, and Egypt's fate was sealed. Octavian, now Augustus, made Egypt his personal domain, Rome's breadbasket and treasury. He barred senators from entering without permission, ensuring no rival could seize its wealth or raise an army there. Egypt became the emperor's private estate, tightly controlled from the top. Augustus imposed a strict bureaucracy focused on taxation. Egypt was divided into nomes, each run by a Roman strategos. Local elites were co-opted for administration, bearing heavy burdens to meet tax quotas. This system maximized revenue for Rome, often at great cost to Egyptians. Alexandria, once a royal capital, became a provincial seat under Rome. Still a vital trade hub, it was denied self-governance, fueling resentment among its Greek elite. Only centuries later did the city gain a council, reflecting Rome's deep mistrust of its volatile population. Egypt's security relied on a permanent Roman garrison, initially 3 legions, later reduced but always formidable. The prefect of Egypt commanded these forces, preventing any senator from seizing military power. The legions, supported by auxiliaries, ensured the emperor's grip on the province. Roman soldiers in Egypt did more than fight. They enforced tax collection, maintained order, and built infrastructure. Their engineering skills supported agriculture and public works, but their presence also reminded Egyptians that their land now served Rome's interests above all. While internal security was a primary concern, the Roman army in Egypt was also tasked with defending the province's vast and challenging frontiers. To the west lay the vast expanse of the Libyan desert, home to nomadic tribes who could threaten the scattered oases and the western edge of the Nile Valley. To the east, the Arabian desert posed a similar threat, but the most significant and active frontier was to the south, in the region known as Nubia, or Kush. Here the Romans inherited a long-standing border conflict from the Ptolemies with the powerful kingdom of Meroe, a sophisticated civilization centered further up the Nile. Shortly after the Roman conquest in 25 BC, the Meroitic queen, known as the Candace Amanirenas, launched a major raid into southern Egypt, attacking Roman garrisons at Syene and Philae and even carrying off a bronze head from a statue of Emperor Augustus. The Roman response was swift and brutal. The prefect Gaius Petronius led a punitive expedition deep into Nubia, sacking the city of Napata and forcing the Meroites to sue for peace. Following this campaign, a permanent and heavily fortified southern border was established at Hiera Sykaminos, marking the limit of direct Roman control and creating a buffer zone between the province and the Meroitic kingdom. The Roman arrival layered a new, rigid hierarchy onto Ptolemaic Egypt's existing social pyramid. Roman citizens, a small group of officials, officers and veterans, sat at the apex. They held power and exemptions, residing mainly in Alexandria and fortresses. Their position demonstrated Roman authority. Below them were the Greeks, the Hellenized elite of cities like Alexandria. They retained privileges, dominating civic life and holding administrative positions. This intermediary class maintained status between Roman rulers and the Egyptian population. The economy of Roman Egypt was utterly dominated by agriculture. The annual flooding of the Nile River deposited fertile silt, creating an agricultural paradise. The Romans focused on maximizing production and perfecting the system of collection. They maintained the irrigation canals to ensure a bountiful harvest. The primary product was grain, specifically wheat and barley. Egypt's grain production was the principal reason for its immense value to the Roman Empire. This grain was transported down the Nile to Alexandria, where it was stored in massive granaries before being shipped to Rome. This grain fleet was the lifeline that fed the capital's massive population. Beyond its agricultural might, Roman Egypt was a vibrant center of industry and a crucial hub for international trade. The city of Alexandria was not just the exit point for Egyptian grain. It was also a major manufacturing center in its own right. Its workshops produced high-quality glass, fine linens, pottery, and luxury items like perfumes and jewelry. The papyrus industry, centered in the Delta, was a near monopoly, supplying the paper equivalent to the entire Roman world for its administrative records, literature, and personal correspondence. These industries, combined with the processing of agricultural goods, made the province an economic powerhouse that exported finished goods as well as raw materials. Egypt's unique geographical position, bridging the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, made it the gateway for Rome's lucrative trade with the East. Goods from Arabia, India, and even as far as China flowed into the Red Sea ports of Myos Hormos and Berenice. From there, caravans protected by the Roman military trekked across the eastern desert to the Nile, where the goods were transferred to boats and floated downriver to Alexandria. Spices like pepper and cinnamon, silks, precious gems, and exotic animals were brought west, while Roman goods like wine, metalwork and glass were sent east. This trade brought immense wealth into the province, and, well, the customs duties collected on it were a significant source of revenue for the emperor's treasury. When Rome conquered Egypt, it did not impose its own gods. The Romans were generally tolerant in religious matters. They encountered a pantheon of gods that had been worshipped along the Nile for 3,000 years. Life continued to revolve around the worship of their ancient deities. Gods like Horus, Thoth, and Sobek remained central to the spiritual life of the villages and towns in the Nile Valley. The local temples continued to function much as they had under the pharaohs. These were not just places of worship, but also major economic and cultural centers. The priesthood continued to perform the ancient daily rituals. For the ordinary Egyptian, these temples were the tangible link to the divine. The old ways were resilient. The Romans introduced the imperial cult, a state-sponsored veneration of the emperor, fostering loyalty across the empire. In Egypt, this cult built upon the tradition of the divine ruler. Temples were dedicated to emperors, and priests oversaw their worship. This practice was a mandatory expression of political allegiance, demonstrating loyalty to Rome. The cult was prominent in Alexandria, fused with the worship of the goddess Roma. Festivals and sacrifices were held in the emperor's honor, reinforcing the empire's might. Participation in the imperial cult was a crucial part of public life, a statement that all were subjects of the divine emperor. Among the deities worshipped in Roman Egypt, Isis achieved widespread popularity across the entire Roman Empire. Isis was the great mother goddess. Under the Romans, her cult became a major international religion. She was seen as a universal savior, a compassionate mother who offered her followers protection and rebirth. Her cult was a mystery religion, meaning its central rituals were revealed only to initiates. Temples to Isis, known as Iseums, sprang up in port cities and urban centers. Her iconography, the goddess nursing her infant son, became one of the most recognizable religious images of the age. The Roman conquest of Egypt did not bring an end to the grand tradition of temple building that had defined the landscape of the Nile Valley for millennia. Instead, the early Roman emperors, particularly those of the Julio-Claudian and Flavian dynasties, embraced this tradition as a powerful tool of statecraft. They continued the practice of the Ptolemaic kings before them, funding the construction and completion of magnificent temples dedicated to the ancient Egyptian gods. This architectural patronage served a crucial political purpose. By acting as pious pharaohs, Roman emperors legitimized their rule in the eyes of the Egyptian people and the influential native priesthood, seamlessly inserting themselves into a 3,000-year-old lineage of divine kingship and cosmic stewardship. These temples were built in a purely traditional Egyptian style, almost indistinguishable from those of the New Kingdom or Ptolemaic eras. They featured massive pylons, open-air courtyards, hyper-style halls with towering columns, and dimly lit inner sanctuaries. The walls were covered in intricate hieroglyphic inscriptions and detailed reliefs carved according to the ancient artistic canons. However, a closer look reveals the new reality of Roman power. Amidst the images of Horus, Isis and Amun-Ra, the figure of the Roman emperor appears, depicted in the full regalia of a pharaoh, wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt and making offerings to the gods, a visible statement of continuity and control. The Roman period witnessed the final flourishing of monumental Egyptian temple construction, a last great burst of architectural energy before the old religion began its slow decline. These structures stand today as some of the best-preserved temples in all of Egypt, precisely because they were the last to be built. The Temple of Horus at Edfu, though primarily a Ptolemaic construction, was finally completed under Roman rule. Its massive scale, perfect preservation, and the completeness of its inscriptions provide an unparalleled window into the religious and architectural world that the Romans inherited and, for a time, chose to sustain. It represents the culmination of centuries of pharaonic architectural evolution sponsored by Greek and Roman masters. Further south, near the traditional border of Egypt and Nubia, lies the island of Philae, a sacred site dedicated to the goddess Isis. The Romans added significantly to the existing temple complex, which became one of the most important pilgrimage centers in the entire empire. The Kiosk of Trajan, an elegant and unfinished pavilion with towering floral columns, remains one of the most iconic images of Roman Egypt. It was a gateway to the sanctuary of Isis, a place where the Roman emperor honored the most beloved of the Egyptian goddesses, whose cult was by then captivating followers across the Mediterranean world, from the shores of Egypt to the city of Rome itself. The first centuries of Roman rule in Egypt were characterized by stability and systematic exploitation. Following the chaos of the late Ptolemaic era, the Pax Romana brought an end to conflict. The province settled into a rhythm, governed by the emperor's prefect and legions. This peace allowed agriculture and trade to flourish. Augustus's administrative machinery ensured grain ships sailed on time and tax revenues flowed into the treasury, solidifying Egypt's role as the empire's economic bedrock. Cultural toleration allowed ancient religious traditions to continue. Temples were maintained with imperial funds, and emperors were depicted as pharaohs. The Roman tax system siphoned off the province's wealth, burdening the peasant farmers. The relative calm of the first 2 centuries came to an abrupt end in the 3rd century, a period known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century that shook the entire Roman Empire to its foundations. Decades of civil war, rapid turnover of emperors, rampant inflation, and barbarian invasions on the frontiers created widespread instability. Egypt was not immune to this chaos. The province suffered from military usurpations, economic disruption, and new external threats. The firm grip that the central government in Rome had held over the province began to weaken, and the carefully calibrated system of administration and exploitation started to break down under the immense pressure of the empire-wide crisis. One of the most significant threats came from the south and east. The Blemis, a nomadic people from the eastern desert, began to launch increasingly bold raids into the Nile Valley, threatening towns and disrupting trade routes. In the 260s, the short-lived Palmyrene Empire, based in Syria and led by the warrior Queen Zenobia, briefly seized control of Egypt, severing it from Roman authority. The Roman Emperor Aurelian eventually reconquered the province, but these events shattered the illusion of impenetrable security that had defined the early Roman period. The military had to be reconfigured to deal with these new, more mobile threats, and the sense of permanent stability was lost for good. The reforms of the emperors Diocletian and Constantine at the turn of the 4th century marked the beginning of a new era, often termed later Roman or Byzantine Egypt. The province underwent a radical administrative overhaul. Egypt was divided into several smaller provinces, breaking its monolithic unity and bringing it more in line with the rest of the empire. The old distinction between the emperor's personal province and senatorial provinces was abolished. A new, more complex bureaucracy was put in place, and the military and civil commands were separated. This was a fundamental reshaping of the government, moving away from the Augustan model towards the structure of the later Byzantine state. The most profound transformation of this period was the rise of Christianity. After centuries of persecution, Emperor Constantine's conversion in the early 4th century made Christianity the favored religion of the empire. In Egypt, this shift was embraced with fervent enthusiasm. The church grew rapidly in wealth and power, developing a strong hierarchical structure under the authority of the powerful bishop or pope of Alexandria. Monasticism, a new form of intense religious devotion, was born in the Egyptian deserts, with charismatic figures like St. Anthony attracting thousands of followers who sought to renounce the world for a life of prayer and asceticism. Egypt became a heartland of Christian thought and spirituality. Roman rule in Egypt wasn't a simple replacement, but a lasting transformation. The legions of Augustus absorbed a civilization, recognizing the immense value of its new prize. Rome imposed a rigid system of governance to extract wealth. Grain, gold and porphyry flowed from the Nile Valley, reshaping the Egyptian economy. This new order was built upon military power. The Roman garrison enforced the peace, protected tax collectors, and engineered infrastructure. This brought stability, but it was dictated by a foreign master serving Rome's interests above all else. The story of Roman Egypt is not merely one of what Rome did to Egypt, but also of what Egypt gave to Rome. The influence flowed both ways, and the treasures that the empire received were not just material. The most immediate and tangible gift was, of course, the grain. The annual shipment from Alexandria was the lifeblood of the capital, the foundation of the emperor's ability to maintain social order and political power. But Egypt also gave the Roman world papyrus, the essential medium for communication, administration, and literature. It provided the empire with exquisite glass, fine linens, and the hard, beautiful stones that became the ultimate symbols of imperial luxury and permanence, shaping the very look and feel of the city of Rome. Beyond these material goods, Egypt exported its gods. The cults of Isis and Serapis, nurtured in the multicultural crucible of Hellenistic and Roman Egypt, became international phenomena. They offered a brand of personal, emotional, and salvific religion that proved immensely appealing across the vast and diverse empire. In a world often characterized by impersonal state cults, the mysteries of Isis provided a sense of community, divine compassion, and the promise of an afterlife. The spread of these Egyptian cults throughout the Mediterranean prepared the Roman mind for new religious ideas from the East, creating a spiritual landscape in which another faith, Christianity, would eventually find purchase and flourish. The 7 centuries of Roman dominion mark a pivotal bridge in Egypt's narrative. This era signals the definitive end of the pharaonic world, a civilization that had endured for 3 millennia. The Roman conquest integrated the Nile Valley into the Mediterranean world. Yet even as ancient traditions faded, new forms of expression emerged, none more evocative than the haunting Fayum portraits. Painted nearly 2,000 years ago, the Fayum portraits are among the most vivid and personal relics of Roman Egypt. Created between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD, these lifelike images adorned the faces of mummified bodies, bridging the worlds of the living and the dead. They are found mostly in the Fayum region, west of the Nile, but their influence spread across the land. The artists who crafted these portraits used the encaustic technique, mixing coloured pigments with hot beeswax and applying them to wooden panels. This method allowed for remarkable depth, luminosity, and durability. The result? Eyes that seem to gaze across centuries, skin tones that glow with life, and expressions that capture individuality and emotion. The wooden panels, often made from native sycamore or imported cedar, were carefully prepared. Artists layered rich colours, reds, ochres, and deep blacks, using fine brushes and heated tools. Gold leaf sometimes adorned jewellery or clothing, highlighting the status of the deceased. Each portrait was unique, a testament to the sitter's identity, wealth, and aspirations. The people depicted in the Fayum portraits were a blend of cultures, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and others, reflecting the cosmopolitan world of Roman Egypt. Their hairstyles, clothing, and jewellery reveal shifting fashions and social status. Some wear traditional Egyptian amulets, while others display Roman togas or Greek-style tunics. The portraits capture a society in transition where ancient beliefs mingled with new customs. These images were not mere decorations. They served a profound funerary purpose, attached to the mummified bodies and placed in tombs. The portraits were meant to preserve the memory and presence of the deceased, ensuring recognition in the afterlife. They are a poignant fusion of Egyptian spiritual tradition and Greco-Roman realism. Archaeologists have uncovered hundreds of these portraits, often remarkably well preserved by the dry desert sands. Each discovery is a moment of connection, a face from antiquity meeting the gaze of the modern world. Today, the Fayum portraits are displayed in museums across the globe, celebrated for their artistry and humanity. Art historians regard the Fayum portraits as the earliest true-to-life painted portraits in history. Their influence echoes through the centuries, inspiring later traditions of portraiture in both East and West. They remind us that beneath the trappings of empire and the passage of time, the desire to be remembered, to be seen, remains universal. The language of administration shifted and hieroglyphics slowly faded. The Roman period represents a profound break with the past, a closing of the door on ancient Egypt. The ruins of Roman fortresses stand in the desert. Temples completed under Roman patronage are preserved in detail. But in the Fayum portraits, the faces of a lost world endure, silent, watchful, and alive. The Fayum mummy portraits reveal the faces of the multicultural elite, a symbol of cultural fusion. In their gaze we glimpse the enduring echoes of a world transformed, where Egypt's ancient soul met the new realities of Rome, and where art became a bridge across time. The Ptolemaic kingdom, a vibrant thread in ancient history, shimmered with Greek intellect and Egyptian tradition. For 3 centuries, it stood as a beacon of power in the Mediterranean. It began with Alexander the Great, whose conquests forged new destinies. His arrival in Egypt in 332 BC was seen as liberation, and he was crowned pharaoh. This planted the seeds of a new kingdom. After Alexander's death, his empire fell into chaos. Ptolemy, a trusted commander, secured Egypt, establishing a dynasty that would last nearly 300 years. The Ptolemaic kingdom was born. Ptolemy the Soter established his capital in Alexandria, declaring himself pharaoh. His reign began a remarkable chapter where Greek rulers navigated an ancient land, shaping a unique Greco-Egyptian identity. The Ptolemaic dynasty represented a fascinating and unprecedented cultural experiment. Here, 2 powerful civilizations, those of Greece and Egypt, were brought into direct and continuous contact. The new Greek rulers did not simply impose their own ways upon the land they now controlled. Instead, they engaged in a careful and strategic process of adaptation and synthesis. They understood that to rule Egypt effectively, they needed the support of its people and its powerful priesthood. This led to a remarkable blending of traditions, creating a society that was Hellenistic in its administration and intellectual pursuits, yet profoundly Egyptian in its spiritual and ceremonial life. This fusion was visible everywhere, from the royal court to the smallest farming village. The Ptolemaic pharaohs, including the famous Cleopatra VII, presented themselves in a dual manner. To their Greek-speaking administrators and soldiers, they were Hellenistic monarchs, patrons of art and science. Yet on the walls of the grand temples they constructed, they were depicted in the traditional style of the pharaohs, making offerings to ancient Egyptian gods like Horus, Isis, and Osiris. This duality was the cornerstone of their political strategy, allowing them to maintain authority over a diverse population and project an image of continuity with Egypt's glorious past. Alexandria, the kingdom's magnificent capital, became the ultimate symbol of this new world. It was a cosmopolitan metropolis, home to Greeks, Egyptians, Jews, and people from across the Mediterranean. Its legendary Great Library and Museum turned the city into the intellectual epicenter of the ancient world. Scholars, scientists, philosophers, and poets flocked to its institutions, making groundbreaking discoveries in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. The city itself was a masterpiece of Greek urban planning, with wide streets and grand public buildings, yet its heart beat to the rhythm of the Nile, its wealth drawn from the ancient agricultural bounty of the Egyptian countryside. The story of the Ptolemaic kingdom is therefore not just a tale of kings and conquests, but a deeper exploration of cultural interaction. It is the story of how a foreign dynasty successfully integrated into one of the world's oldest civilizations, creating something entirely new in the process. We will journey through its rise to immense power, witness the flourishing of its unique culture, and explore the internal conflicts and external pressures that ultimately led to its dramatic downfall. This is the chronicle of the last pharaohs of Egypt, a dynasty of Greek origin that wrote the final, brilliant chapter of a 3,000-year-old saga before yielding to the rising power of Rome. Alexander the Great's death in 323 BC triggered shockwaves across his empire. The world held its breath. The king was gone, leaving a power vacuum. He had no clear heir. His generals, the Diadochi, carved up the world. Decades of conflict, the wars of the successors, replaced unity. Each general saw himself as the rightful heir. Ptolemy set his sights on Egypt. He knew Egypt was secure and prosperous. It was a land that could sustain itself. Ptolemy moved swiftly to consolidate his control. Ptolemy was determined to thrive, establishing a lasting kingdom. Ptolemy's first and most audacious act was the hijacking of Alexander the Great's funeral cortege. The body of the deified conqueror was being transported back to Macedon for burial, a procession of immense symbolic importance. Perdiccas, the imperial regent, intended to use the burial to legitimize his own authority. However, Ptolemy intercepted the procession in Syria and diverted it to Egypt. This was an act of breathtaking defiance. By bringing Alexander's body to Memphis and later to a magnificent tomb in Alexandria, Ptolemy was making a powerful statement. He was positioning himself as the true successor, the guardian of Alexander's legacy, and linking his own destiny directly to that of the celebrated hero. This bold move was a direct challenge to Perdiccas and the central authority of the empire, inevitably leading to war. In 321 BC, Perdiccas marched his grand imperial army to the borders of Egypt, determined to crush the defiant satrap. The ensuing conflict was a critical test for Ptolemy. He faced a numerically superior force led by the empire's most powerful man. Yet Ptolemy's strategic genius and the natural defences of the Nile proved decisive. He successfully repelled Perdiccas' attempts to cross the river, inflicting heavy casualties on the invading army. The failure was a humiliation for Perdiccas, whose own troops, demoralized and resentful, assassinated him in his tent. The defeat and death of Perdiccas dramatically altered the political landscape. Ptolemy's victory not only secured his hold on Egypt, but also elevated his status among the other Diadochi. He was no longer just a clever opportunist, he was a proven military commander who had successfully defended his realm against the full might of the empire. He prudently declined the offer to become the new regent, preferring to consolidate his power base in Egypt rather than get entangled in the chaotic politics of the wider empire. This decision showcased his remarkable foresight, a quality that would serve him well in the turbulent decades that followed. Over the next 20 years, Ptolemy continued to navigate the treacherous waters of the successor wars. He engaged in conflicts across the eastern Mediterranean, fighting to secure buffer zones for Egypt in Cyrene, Cyprus, and the Levant. He fought against the formidable Antigonus the One-Eyed, who sought to reunite Alexander's empire under his own rule. Though he suffered occasional setbacks, Ptolemy's primary focus never wavered from his Egyptian stronghold. Each campaign was carefully calculated to protect his core territory and enhance its wealth and security. He was patiently laying the groundwork for a kingdom that would endure for generations to come. By 305 BC, Alexander's unified empire was dead. The most powerful Diadochi, including Ptolemy, declared themselves kings. Ptolemy I became king of Egypt, adopting the title Basileus and the traditional title of Pharaoh. His reign marked the beginning of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Ptolemy defended Rhodes against Demetrius, earning the title Soter, meaning saviour. Ptolemy's rule was characterized by effective administration and a highly centralized bureaucracy. In 285 BC, Ptolemy abdicated, making his son co-regent. He left behind a stable and powerful kingdom. Ptolemy transformed Alexandria into the glittering capital of his kingdom. He founded the Great Library and the Museum, intellectual hubs of the Mediterranean world. The library aimed to collect all the world's knowledge, attracting scholars, scientists, and philosophers. Ptolemy understood that power was about cultural prestige, positioning his kingdom at the forefront of Hellenistic civilization. Ptolemy initiated religious syncretism, promoting the cult of Serapis, a deity for both Greeks and Egyptians. This blending of traditions created a shared cultural framework for their diverse kingdom. Ptolemy I Soter's groundwork came to fruition under his son, Ptolemy II Philadelphus, who ascended to the throne in 283 BC. His reign ushered in the golden age of the Ptolemaic kingdom, peace, prosperity, and cultural brilliance. Philadelphus was a master diplomat, shrewd administrator, and patron of the arts and sciences. He elevated Ptolemaic Egypt to the apex of its power and influence. He married his sister, Arsinoe II, a practice imitating ancient Egyptian tradition to concentrate power within the royal family. Arsinoe was a formidable co-ruler who exerted considerable influence. Centralized control generated staggering revenues strategically deployed for public works like the Pharos Lighthouse. Philadelphus maintained Egypt's dominance through military strength and diplomacy, solidifying its status as a superpower. The Ptolemaic kingdom reached its greatest territorial extent during the reign of Ptolemy III, Euergetes. Euergetes launched the Third Syrian War to avenge his sister's murder. Ptolemy III led his army deep into enemy territory, reaching as far as Babylon. At its zenith, the Ptolemaic sphere of influence was immense, controlling Egypt, Libya, Cyprus, numerous Aegean islands, and coastal regions in Turkey, Syria, and Lebanon. This maritime empire was sustained by the most powerful navy in the Mediterranean. This political and military dominance was built upon an unparalleled economic foundation, with the agricultural wealth of the Nile Valley at its core. The Ptolemies managed grain production on an industrial scale. Egypt was the breadbasket of the Mediterranean during this golden age. Beyond agriculture, the Ptolemies fostered a vibrant and diverse economy, controlling trade routes for African elephants and luxury goods. Royal monopolies were established over key industries, ensuring that economic activity flowed into the state's coffers. This combination created a level of wealth that was the envy of the ancient world. The Ptolemaic rulers, particularly Philadelphus and Euergetes, were patrons of knowledge, earning them the title of scholar kings. Their most brilliant achievement was the continued expansion of the Great Library and Museum of Alexandria. These institutions were the heart of the Hellenistic intellectual world. The Ptolemies invested vast sums, viewing cultural supremacy as important as military might. They recruited brilliant minds, offering stipends and an environment for research. The library's collection grew to an astonishing size, with the mission to acquire a copy of every significant book ever written. Discoveries from the museum laid foundations for modern science. This flourishing was a direct consequence of the Ptolemies' vision. The Ptolemaic kings understood that by controlling knowledge they enhanced their power. Alexandria was the intellectual capital of the world. During its ascendant period, Alexandria became the quintessential Hellenistic city, a vibrant and cosmopolitan metropolis that was, quite frankly, a world unto itself. Its population swelled with people from every corner of the known world: Greeks who came as soldiers and administrators, Egyptians who flocked to the city for work, a large and influential Jewish community, and traders from Phoenicia, Syria, and beyond. This cultural melting pot created a dynamic and innovative urban environment. Greek was the language of government and high culture, but walking through the city's markets and alleyways, one would have heard a dozen different languages spoken. This diversity fueled an explosion of creativity in art, literature, and philosophy. The city's physical appearance was breathtaking, a testament to the wealth and ambition of its rulers. The Grand Canopic Way, the city's main thoroughfare, was lined with magnificent colonnades, temples, and gymnasia. At one end of the harbour stood the colossal Pharos Lighthouse, its beacon visible for miles out at sea, a symbol of the city's welcome to the world. At the other end was the Royal Quarter, a vast complex of palaces, gardens, and administrative buildings overlooking the water. The city was a masterpiece of urban design, a planned city built to inspire awe and project an image of absolute power and limitless prosperity, the jewel in the Ptolemaic crown. Art and literature flourished in this stimulating environment. Alexandrian poetry, exemplified by figures like Callimachus and Theocritus, developed a new style. It was often learned, witty, and focused on individual emotion and everyday life, a departure from the grand epic traditions of classical Greece. Sculpture and other visual arts also developed a distinct style, blending the idealism of Greek art with a greater degree of realism and, in some cases, incorporating Egyptian motifs. This artistic output was not just for the elite. The city was filled with public art and entertainment, from theatrical performances to religious festivals, creating a rich cultural tapestry for all its inhabitants. This was the Ptolemaic kingdom at its peak, powerful, wealthy, and intellectually supreme. From the military victories of Ptolemy III to the scholarly pursuits in the Great Library, the kingdom projected an aura of confidence and success. Alexandria stood as the ultimate symbol of this achievement, a city that was both the administrative center of a mighty empire and the cultural capital of the Hellenistic age. It was truly a golden era where the fusion of Greek ingenuity and Egyptian resources created one of the most brilliant civilizations of antiquity. Ptolemaic Egypt had a complex social structure defined by ethnicity and language. The king and Greek nobles were at the top, followed by officials and landowners. Below them were Greek settlers, soldiers, merchants and scholars. The majority were native Egyptians, farmers, laborers and artisans at the bottom. A divided legal system favored Greeks, causing tension and revolts. Over time, a mixed population emerged through intermarriage and cultural exchange, blurring social lines. Identities transformed in Ptolemaic Egypt's unique cultural environment. Religion in Ptolemaic Egypt saw the fusion of the ancient Egyptian pantheon with Greek deities. The Ptolemaic rulers embraced Egyptian religion, supporting temples and presenting themselves as pharaohs. The god Serapis, combining Osiris, Apis, Bull, Zeus, Hades and Asclepius, was created to appeal to both Greeks and Egyptians. His main cult center was the Serapeum in Alexandria. Traditional Egyptian gods like Isis flourished, her worship spreading far beyond Egypt. The Ptolemies restored and expanded temples. Egyptians identified their gods with Greek counterparts, creating a shared religious vocabulary. This religious pluralism defined the era, creating a uniquely Greco-Egyptian spiritual world. The Ptolemaic dynasty left behind magnificent temples throughout Upper Egypt. Though Greek rulers, they acted as traditional Egyptian pharaohs, constructing and maintaining houses for the gods. The Ptolemies honored local deities and employed thousands of Egyptians. This demonstrated their piety and commitment to ancient traditions. Built from sandstone, they followed the New Kingdom blueprint, featuring pylons and peristyle courts. Hypostyle halls led to the sanctuary housing the god's statue. Walls displayed reliefs and hieroglyphs depicting the king as pharaoh. The Temple of Horus at Edfu is the most complete surviving temple. It offers a glimpse into the period's architecture and rituals. Another jewel is the Temple of Isis on Philae. Dendera and Kom Ombo temples further showcase the dynasty's building. These temples reveal the Ptolemaic rulers' dual identity. They performed rites practiced for millennia. These temples symbolize the Ptolemaic synthesis. The Ptolemaic kingdom's military was a formidable force, guaranteeing security and projecting influence. The army reflected the kingdom's Greco-Egyptian character. At its core was a professional standing army based on the Macedonian model. One fearsome element was its corps of war elephants. Expeditions captured and trained these beasts, used to break enemy formations. The psychological impact of armored elephants was immense. The army relied on foreign mercenaries and a Greek ruling class. Before the Battle of Raphia, Ptolemy IV recruited native Egyptians. This empowered the Egyptian population, contributing to nationalist sentiment and revolts. The Ptolemaic kingdom's dominance was due to its powerful and technologically advanced navy. Egypt, with its long Mediterranean coastline, was a natural maritime power. Their fleet was the largest and most sophisticated in the Mediterranean, allowing them to control the sea lanes. The Ptolemaic fleet was based in well-equipped harbours, with Alexandria as the main naval base. The ships themselves were marvels of Hellenistic engineering. These were fast, manoeuvrable warships designed for ramming. The Ptolemies were also famous for constructing gigantic polyremes, colossal warships. These behemoths were powerful tools of propaganda. It protected the vital shipping routes that brought immense wealth into the kingdom. It allowed the Ptolemies to maintain control over their overseas territories. In times of war, the fleet could transport troops and blockade enemy ports. The control of Cyprus in particular was crucial. This naval dominance was a key factor in the Syrian wars against the Seleucid Empire. The Ptolemaic navy allowed Egypt to support its allies and raid enemy coastlines. The Ptolemaic fleet was a clear signal of the kingdom's power. The Ptolemaic kingdom's power was built on the Nile's fertile land and a tightly controlled economy. The Ptolemies boosted agriculture with new crops and irrigation, making Egypt the breadbasket of the Mediterranean. Alexandria and Red Sea ports turned Egypt into a global trade hub, taxing exotic imports and exporting grain. The king monopolized key industries: papyrus, textiles, oil, brewing, mining, ensuring profits flowed straight to the royal treasury. Greek-speaking bureaucrats managed every detail, but this efficiency came at a cost: heavy taxes and labor demands on ordinary Egyptians. This wealth funded armies and monuments, but the system's inequalities would eventually fuel unrest. Under Ptolemy IV, weak leadership and corruption eroded the kingdom's stability. In a desperate move, native Egyptians were armed for the Battle of Raphia, winning the war but awakening their sense of power. Soon after, Upper Egypt erupted in rebellion, breaking away under native pharaohs for nearly 2 decades. The Ptolemies fought to regain control, draining resources and shattering unity. Even after the revolt ended, unrest and banditry plagued the countryside. The government, weakened and divided, struggled to maintain order. The once stable kingdom was now fractured, its foundations crumbling. As Egypt faltered, Rome's power surged across the Mediterranean. Seeking protection, Ptolemy V made Egypt a Roman client state, its independence now a mere illusion. Roman intervention repeatedly saved the dynasty, but at the cost of sovereignty. The infamous Day of Eleusis showed Rome's dominance. A Roman envoy forced a Seleucid king to withdraw from Egypt with a simple ultimatum. Ptolemaic rulers became pawns, their fate decided in the Roman Senate. Internal dynastic feuds played out for Roman amusement and advantage. As Rome descended into civil war, Egypt became a prize for ambitious generals like Caesar and Antony. The kingdom was no longer a player, but the board on which Rome's final struggles unfolded. Cleopatra VII, the last Ptolemy, was brilliant, ambitious, and determined to restore Egypt's glory. She allied with Julius Caesar, securing her throne and bearing him a son, Caesarion. After Caesar's death, she partnered with Mark Antony, ruling the East and dreaming of a new empire. Their alliance provoked Rome. Octavian declared war, painting Cleopatra as a dangerous foreign queen. At Actium, Antony and Cleopatra's forces were crushed. Facing defeat, they took their own lives as Octavian's legions closed in. With their deaths, the Ptolemaic dynasty ended and Egypt became a Roman province. The Ptolemies' rule ended, but their legacy endured. Their temples, Edfu, Dendera, Philae, preserved Egyptian art and religion. The Library of Alexandria made Egypt the intellectual heart of the ancient world, shaping science and philosophy for centuries. Greek and Egyptian cultures fused, influencing art and spreading the cult of Isis across the Roman Empire. Their administrative system, centralized, efficient and exploitative, became the model for Roman rule. Egypt remained the empire's breadbasket, its wealth and knowledge outliving the dynasty. The Ptolemies left a mark on history, carved in stone and memory. The Ptolemaic dynasty had strange traditions, most notably royal sibling marriage. Beginning with Ptolemy II and his sister Arsinoe II, many Ptolemaic kings married their sisters, imitating the divine marriages in Egyptian mythology. This reinforced the dynasty's status and kept power within the family. Another peculiar aspect was the repetitive use of names like Ptolemy, Cleopatra, or Berenice. Historians use epithets to distinguish them, like Ptolemy II Philadelphus or Ptolemy VIII Euergetes II, nicknamed Potbelly. The Ptolemies also maintained a unique core of war elephants, sourcing smaller African forest elephants. These elephants became a symbol of Ptolemaic power. With Cleopatra's death in 30 BC, Egypt was annexed by Octavian, soon to be Emperor Augustus. The transformation was immediate. Egypt became the Roman emperor's personal property. Its wealth flowed directly into his treasury. Egypt was the empire's breadbasket, its resources under absolute control. Culturally, the Roman era saw a continuation of the Greco-Egyptian synthesis. Mummy portraits flourished, combining Egyptian mummification with Greco-Roman portraiture. Roman emperors were depicted as pharaohs in temples. Egypt's primary role became economic, to produce grain to feed Rome. The land of the pharaohs was now a cog in the machine of Roman power. Our journey through the history of the Ptolemaic kingdom has taken us from its founder, Ptolemy I Soter, to its last queen, Cleopatra VII. For 3 centuries, this Macedonian Greek dynasty ruled over Egypt, presiding over a period of immense wealth and cultural fusion. They built a kingdom that was both a formidable military power and a beacon of Hellenistic civilization. The Ptolemaic pharaohs presented themselves as legitimate successors to Egypt's ancient rulers. Yet the seeds of decay were sown within the dynasty itself, through weak rulers and family rivalries. This internal weakness made the Ptolemaic state vulnerable to the rising power of Rome. With Cleopatra's death, the line of the Ptolemies was extinguished. The last chapter of ancient Egypt had been written by a Greek dynasty. The Ptolemaic kingdom stands as one of history's most compelling experiments in syncretism. The Ptolemies engaged with Egyptian culture, fusing it with their own traditions, visible in their art and religion. The kingdom represents a bridge between Greece and the Near East. The intellectual fire lit in Ptolemaic Alexandria continues to cast a long shadow. It is a tale filled with larger-than-life characters from Ptolemy I to Cleopatra VII. The physical remains of their rule draw millions of visitors. It shows how cultures can collide and merge, creating new identities. Their story continues to fascinate us to this day. Imagine a place where the golden sands of the desert embrace the life-giving waters of the Nile. A place where the echoes of ancient rituals still resonate within towering stone walls. 60 kilometers north of Luxor, rising majestically from the sands, lies the Dendera temple complex. This sprawling site is not just a collection of stones, it's a portal to a world of gods, pharaohs, and the enduring mysteries of ancient Egypt. This sanctuary, primarily dedicated to the goddess Hathor, the embodiment of love, beauty, music, and motherhood, is one of Egypt's best-preserved temple sites, a testament to centuries of unwavering devotion and unparalleled architectural mastery. Its remarkably intact state offers a unique glimpse into the religious practices and artistic achievements of the time. The main temple's colossal facade, adorned with intricate carvings and towering columns, dominates the landscape, a powerful statement of divine presence. Its sheer scale and breathtaking beauty are immediately striking, leaving visitors in awe of the ingenuity and artistry of its builders. Dendera's strategic location on the west bank of the Nile, a region deeply associated with the afterlife and rebirth in ancient Egyptian beliefs, was carefully chosen with profound symbolic intent. Known in antiquity as Unet or Tantere, it served as the capital of Upper Egypt's 6th province, a significant administrative and cultural center. It was also a vibrant hub of religious activity for millennia, drawing pilgrims and priests alike to participate in elaborate ceremonies and honor the gods. For centuries, the desert sands acted as a protective shroud, preserving Dendera from the ravages of time and the elements. This natural preservation allows us today to step back in time and experience a past that feels remarkably intact, offering an unparalleled connection to ancient Egypt. Unlike the partially ruined complexes of Karnak or Luxor, where much has been lost to the ages, Dendera's exceptional completeness allows us to vividly imagine the world of the pharaohs and their Roman successors, offering a more immersive and comprehensive understanding of their beliefs and practices. Even now, faded colours still cling to the walls and ceilings, whispering stories of vibrant processions and sacred rituals. These remnants of pigment offer a tantalizing hint at the temple's original splendor, a dazzling display of artistic expression. The complex we see today largely dates from the Ptolemaic and Roman periods, reflecting the influence of these later rulers on Egyptian culture and architecture. However, its sacred roots delve much deeper, reaching back to Egypt's earliest dynastic days, suggesting a site of religious significance for millennia. Each ruler who contributed to its construction and embellishment added a chapter to a story thousands of years in the making, leaving their mark on its walls and pillars. Dendera stands as a living chronicle of Egypt's spiritual and political evolution, a testament to the enduring power of its civilization. It is a place where ancient Egyptian traditions met new influences from the Greco-Roman world, creating a unique fusion of artistic and religious expression. It stands as a unique and timeless testament, a beacon of human ingenuity and spiritual aspiration. Dendera is a powerful reminder of the enduring power of faith, the boundless capacity for creativity, and the enduring legacy of ancient Egypt. The construction of Dendera is not just a building project, it's a sprawling saga, a testament to the enduring power of faith and the ambition of rulers across millennia. Its story was written by many hands, a collaborative effort unfolding across generations, each leaving their indelible mark on its stones. The inscriptions themselves offer glimpses into the past, mentioning Old Kingdom rulers like Pepi I, revealing a history that stretches back to the very dawn of Egyptian civilization. These rulers were already restoring a sanctuary that was ancient even in their time, highlighting the cyclical nature of preservation and renewal in Egyptian culture. Later, pharaohs of the Middle Kingdom, with their own visions of grandeur, and those of the New Kingdoms, including the powerful Thutmose III and the celebrated Ramesses II, each left their mark, adding to the temple's rich tapestry of history and devotion. Sadly, many of their structures are mostly lost, either through the ravages of time or incorporated into the later building projects. Their contributions now whispers in the stones. This continuous patronage, spanning across dynasties and centuries, clearly shows Dendera's lasting importance as a sacred site and a symbol of Egyptian identity. It reveals that every dynasty, regardless of its origins or ambitions, sought to honor Hathor, the goddess of love, music and motherhood, and to connect with Egypt's deep traditions. However, the most significant building phase, the one that truly shaped the temple as we see it today, began under the rule of the Ptolemies, the Greek dynasty that followed Alexander the Great. These Ptolemaic rulers, though Greek in origin and culture, astutely embraced Egyptian religion and traditions as a means to legitimize their rule in the eyes of the Egyptian people. It was they who initiated the construction of the Grand Temple of Hathor, a monumental undertaking that would define Dendera for centuries to come. This ambitious project continued for nearly 2 centuries, a testament to the Ptolemies' commitment to integrating themselves into the fabric of Egyptian society. Later, when Rome conquered Egypt, adding it to its vast empire, Roman emperors like Augustus and Nero, following the Ptolemaic example, added their own images and cartouches to the temple walls and even completed the magnificent hypostyle hall, seamlessly blending their legacy with that of ancient Egypt. Dendera's seamless transition from Ptolemaic to Roman patronage is a remarkable example of cultural continuity, and it highlights the extraordinary resilience of Egyptian culture in the face of foreign rule and influence. The temple, like a living organism, absorbed new rulers and their influences, yet remained firmly rooted in its ancient worldview, its core beliefs and traditions. In the end, it stands as a powerful monument to Egypt's unique ability to adapt, endure and inspire awe across the ages, a beacon of cultural strength shining through the sands of time. At Dendera's heart, rising majestically from the sands of time, stands the Temple of Hathor. Its imposing facade hints at the wonders held within, a testament to the ingenuity and artistry of the ancient Egyptians. Remarkably, it is more a preserved marvel than a ruin, offering an unparalleled glimpse into the religious practices and beliefs of a civilization long past. The temple's state of preservation allows us to truly appreciate the grandeur and sophistication of its design. Called the Castle of the Sistrum, a sacred musical instrument, it was believed to be Hathor's earthly home, a tangible bridge between the mortal realm and the heavens above. This temple served as a focal point for worship and connection with the divine. The temple's architecture is deeply cosmic, reflecting the ancient Egyptians' understanding of the universe and their place within it. Every element was carefully considered to create a harmonious and spiritually significant space. The very floors beneath our feet represent the earth, solid and grounding, connecting the temple to the physical world. The towering columns, adorned with plant capitals of lotus and papyrus, symbolize primordial plants, representing the life-giving forces of nature and the fertile lands of Egypt. And the ceilings above are painted to depict the starry sky, a celestial map filled with astronomical symbols and constellations reminding visitors of the vastness of the cosmos. The hypostyle hall, a forest of 24 columns, each meticulously crafted and topped with the serene face of Hathor, creates a profound sense of divine welcome, enveloping visitors in the goddess's gentle presence. The ceiling here is not just decoration, it's a painted map of the heavens, meticulously detailed with astronomical zodiac constellations, charting the sun's daily and yearly journey across the sky. Hathor, the beloved goddess of love, joyous music and nurturing motherhood, was central to Egyptian life. But she was also revered as a fierce protector, a powerful deity who guided souls through the perils of the afterlife, ensuring their safe passage to eternity. The temple was a vibrant center of activity, celebrating all aspects of Hathor's multifaceted nature, hosting elaborate festivals filled with music and dance. It was also a place of healing, where sacred rituals were performed to alleviate suffering and restore balance to the body and spirit. And it served as a conduit for divine wisdom, with oracles delivering prophecies and guidance to those who sought answers from the gods. As visitors progressed through the temple, they moved from the brightly lit hypostyle hall into increasingly darker and more sacred chambers, symbolizing a journey inward towards spiritual enlightenment. This journey culminated in the Holy of Holies, the innermost sanctuary, the most sacred space within the entire temple complex. Only the high priest, the intermediary between the goddess and the people, was permitted to enter this innermost sanctuary to tend to the goddess's cult statue, performing rituals to honor and sustain her divine presence. Every space within the Temple of Hathor was meticulously designed for ritual, reinforcing Hathor's presence and power, ensuring that her influence permeated every aspect of daily life. Today, the Temple of Hathor remains a living symbol of Egypt's rich spiritual imagination, a testament to the enduring power of belief and the remarkable achievements of ancient civilization. On the temple's roof, a small chapel once held the Dendera zodiac, a masterpiece of ancient astronomy. The original circular bas-relief, now in the Louvre, is a map of the heavens as seen by the Egyptians. It fuses Greco-Roman zodiac signs with traditional Egyptian constellations, blending cultures and knowledge. Planets appear as deities in celestial boats, reflecting a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos. The zodiac's placement in a chapel dedicated to Osiris linked the cycles of stars to death and rebirth. Its circular design symbolized the eternal nature of time and cosmic order. When the zodiac was removed to Paris, it sparked debates about the age of the world and Egypt's scientific legacy. Later analysis dated it to the late Ptolemaic period, around 50 BCE. The Dendera zodiac remains a unique artifact, revealing the depth of ancient Egyptian astronomy and cross-cultural exchange. It is a testament to the Egyptians' quest to understand their place in the universe. Beyond the Temple of Hathor, Dendera's complex unfolds as a tapestry of sacred spaces. A massive mud brick wall once enclosed the precinct, separating the divine from the everyday. Entering through the Roman-built northern gateway, visitors followed a processional way to the main temple. To the right stands the original birthhouse, or Mamisi, of Nectanebo I, dedicated to the divine birth of Horus and the pharaoh. Nearby, the ruins of a Coptic basilica show how the site was repurposed in Christian times. Behind the main temple, the Roman-era Temple of Isis tells the story of Osiris's death and rebirth under Hathor's protection. The complex also includes a sacred lake for priestly purification and a sanatorium where pilgrims sought healing dreams from Hathor. Dendera was more than a temple. It was a center of worship, healing and community life. Its layers reveal Egypt's evolving spiritual landscape. Deep in the temple's crypts, mysterious reliefs known as the Dendera Light have fueled debate for decades. These carvings show bulb-like objects with serpents inside, connected to boxes resembling jade pillars. Fringe theories claim these are ancient electrical devices, explaining how Egyptians lit dark interiors without soot. Mainstream Egyptologists, however, see rich symbolism: the bulb as the sky goddess's womb, the serpent as the sun's creative force, the lotus as rebirth, and the jade as stability. There's no evidence for ancient electricity. No bulbs, filaments or batteries have been found. Egyptians used mirrors and clean-burning lamps for illumination. The Dendera light is a mythological scene, not a technological blueprint. It's a striking example of how ancient art can inspire both wonder and wild speculation. South of the main temple stands the Roman Mamisi, or birthhouse, one of Dendera's best-preserved buildings. Dedicated to the divine birth of Ai, son of Hathor and Horus, the Mamisi was the stage for rituals celebrating both myth and royal legitimacy. Built by Augustus and decorated by Trajan and Hadrian, its reliefs show Roman emperors as Egyptian pharaohs making offerings to the gods. The building blends Egyptian and Greco-Roman styles, reflecting the era's cultural fusion. Vivid reliefs depict Hathor's pregnancy, Ai's birth, and his presentation to the gods. These scenes reinforce the emperor's divine right to rule Egypt. During festivals, Hathor's statue was carried in procession to the Mamisi, symbolizing the reunion of the divine family. The Mamisi was central to Dendera's religious life and remains a window into Roman Egypt's spiritual world. It stands as a symbol of adaptation and enduring tradition. Dendera's walls and crypts are a treasure trove of history and intrigue. On the rear wall, the only known relief of Cleopatra VII and her son Caesarion shows them presenting offerings, a poignant bid for legitimacy. The temple's 14 crypts, hidden below, stored sacred objects and are covered in detailed reliefs, protected from centuries of damage. Exploring these chambers reveals the secret workings of the ancient priesthood. The temple's roof, too, was a ritual space, with chapels and kiosks for ceremonies like the New Year's dawn, when Hathor's statue greeted the rising sun. Modern restoration has uncovered the original vibrant colours of the hypostyle hall's astronomical ceiling, transforming our view of the temple's splendour. Each discovery adds new layers to Dendera's story. The temple continues to yield secrets, connecting us to the rituals and lives of its ancient builders. Dendera is not just a relic, it's a living archive of Egypt's past. Its walls still speak, inviting us to listen and learn. Dendera is more than an archaeological site. It's a testament to the enduring power of faith and culture. For millennia, it bridged the human and divine, witnessing dynasties, empires, and shifting beliefs. Its preservation offers the most complete glimpse of a Greco-Roman temple in Egypt. Dendera's reliefs and architecture are a stone textbook, teaching us about gods, astronomy, politics, and daily life. Today, it inspires tourists, scholars, and seekers alike, sparking new questions and interpretations. Debates over the Dendera light and the zodiac show the site's ongoing role in our quest for knowledge. Standing in the hypostyle hall, beneath Hathor's gaze and a ceiling of stars, you feel a timeless connection. Dendera reminds us that the search for meaning and beauty is eternal. It is not just a monument to the past, but a mirror reflecting our own enduring curiosity. The echo of Dendera's legacy still resonates, inviting us to wonder and explore. Deep in the annals of time, long before the pyramids pierced the sky, there existed a period shrouded in mystery and wonder. We journey back to the land of the Nile, thousands of years before the rise of the first dynasty, to a time known as Pre-dynastic Egypt. From roughly 6000 to 3150 BC, this era witnessed the birth of Egyptian civilization, a period of profound cultural and technological advancements. Imagine a land untouched by the grandeur of the later dynasties, a time when small villages dotted the Nile Valley. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, played a pivotal role in shaping their destiny, providing fertile land for cultivation and a vital artery for trade and communication. Pre-dynastic Egypt, often overlooked in favour of its more illustrious successors, holds the key to understanding the very essence of ancient Egyptian civilization. It was during this formative period that many of the hallmarks of Egyptian culture first emerged, from their distinctive artistic styles to their complex religious beliefs. Their innovations in agriculture, their mastery of craft, and their early forays into social organization laid the foundation for the rise of one of the most enduring and influential civilizations the world has ever known. The legacy of pre-dynastic Egypt is not merely confined to dusty artifacts and crumbling ruins. It is a testament to the enduring power of human ingenuity. From the humble farmers and artisans to the powerful chieftains who shaped the destiny of their people, we will uncover the stories that illuminate the dawn of Egyptian civilization. Our journey into pre-dynastic Egypt begins with the Badarian culture, a people who inhabited the fertile plains of Upper Egypt from around 4500 to 4000 BC. Named after the archaeological site of El Badari, where their remains were first unearthed, the Badarian people represent one of the earliest identifiable cultures in this ancient land. These were skilled farmers, cultivating crops such as wheat and barley along the banks of the Nile, their lives intertwined with the ebb and flow of the great river. Their pottery, in particular, stands as a testament to their artistic skills and technological prowess. The Badarian people are known for their distinctive black-topped pottery, a hallmark of their culture that has captivated archaeologists and art historians alike. These finely made vessels, often adorned with intricate incised decorations, were not merely utilitarian objects. They were expressions of artistry and craftsmanship. The black-topped finish, achieved through a meticulous process of firing and burnishing, created a striking contrast against the reddish-brown clay, showcasing their technical ingenuity. This trade, likely involving goods such as obsidian, precious stones, and perhaps even ideas, highlights their connection to the wider world and their role in shaping the cultural landscape of pre-dynastic Egypt. Life and death in the Badarian world offer us fascinating insights into their belief systems. They carefully buried their dead in shallow graves, often in a contracted position, accompanied by grave goods such as pottery vessels, cosmetic palettes, and personal ornaments. These offerings, intended to accompany the deceased into the afterlife, reflect their belief in a continued existence beyond the realm of the living. The presence of cosmetics suggests a desire to maintain one's appearance even in death, while the inclusion of food and drink points to a belief in the need for sustenance in the afterlife. These early expressions of social differentiation foreshadow the complex social structures that would characterize later Egyptian society. As we delve deeper into pre-dynastic Egypt, we encounter the Naqada culture, named after the modern city of Naqada, where their remains were first discovered. Flourishing from approximately 4000 to 3000 BC, the Naqada period witnessed a significant expansion in population, territory, and cultural sophistication. The Naqada people, building upon the foundations laid by their predecessors, ushered in an era of unprecedented unity and prosperity. This increased interaction fostered cultural exchange and led to the development of a more homogeneous society, paving the way for the emergence of a unified Egyptian state. The Naqada period witnessed a remarkable flourishing of art and craftsmanship, evident in their exquisitely crafted pottery, intricate jewellery, and elaborate cosmetics. Naqada pottery, distinct from its Badarian predecessor, featured a wider range of shapes and sizes, often adorned with elaborate painted decorations. These paintings offer a glimpse into their daily lives, depicting scenes of hunting, fishing, religious rituals, and even warfare. The discovery of copper tools and weapons signifies a shift towards more advanced technologies and the growing importance of warfare in their society. The seeds of complexity, social hierarchy, and the rise of elites. As the Naqada culture flourished, so too did the complexities of their social structure. Evidence suggests a growing disparity in wealth and status, with an elite class emerging to dominate the social hierarchy. This is reflected in the increasingly elaborate burials of this period, with some individuals interred in large mud-brick tombs accompanied by a wealth of grave goods. This disparity in burial practices points to a growing social stratification and the emergence of a powerful ruling class who controlled resources and commanded authority. The seeds of complexity sown during the Naqada era would blossom into the sophisticated political and social structures that characterized ancient Egyptian civilization for centuries to come. Monuments in the making, early tombs and their significance. The sands of time whisper tales of ancient rituals and beliefs, and nowhere is this more evident than in the tombs of pre-dynastic Egypt. Unlike the shallow pit graves of the earlier Badarian period, Naqada tombs began to display a greater degree of architectural complexity. Constructed from mud brick, these tombs often featured multiple chambers, providing ample space for the deceased and their funerary offerings. The inclusion of personal belongings, pottery and food offerings within these tombs speaks volumes about their beliefs in the afterlife. These early tombs, therefore, serve as tangible expressions of their evolving cosmology and their reverence for the dead. Settlements of the soul, exploring pre-dynastic villages and homes. Beyond the realm of the dead, the settlements of the living provide further insights into the social fabric and daily lives of pre-dynastic Egyptians. Clustered along the banks of the Nile, these villages, often fortified for protection, served as hubs of agricultural activity and community life. Crafted from mud brick, the houses of this era, though simple in design, reveal a remarkable degree of practicality and resourcefulness. These settlements offer a glimpse into the social dynamics, economic activities and domestic routines that shaped the lives of these early Egyptians. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, flowed through the heart of the land, shaping not only its geography but also its destiny. This mighty river, originating in the heart of Africa, carved its way northwards, dividing the land into two distinct regions, Upper and Lower Egypt. Upper Egypt, encompassing the narrow Nile Valley stretching from modern-day Aswan to Cairo, was a land of rugged cliffs, fertile floodplains and close proximity to the desert. Lower Egypt, in contrast, encompassed the sprawling Nile Delta, where the river fanned out into a network of channels before emptying into the Mediterranean Sea. Despite their geographical and cultural distinctions, Upper and Lower Egypt were inextricably linked by the Nile. This interconnectedness fostered cultural exchange and laid the groundwork for the eventual unification of the two lands under a single ruler. Upper Egypt, often referred to as Tashemau, meaning land of reeds or land of the south, was characterized by its rugged terrain and its reliance on the annual flooding of the Nile for agriculture. The rich black silt deposited by the receding floodwaters known as Kemet gave the land its fertility and earned Egypt its ancient name, Kemet, the Black Land. The people of Upper Egypt developed a deep reverence for the Nile, recognizing its life-giving properties and its central role in their cosmology. This artistic tradition, evident in their pottery, rock art and early forms of hieroglyphic writing, reflects their connection to their environment and their unique cultural identity. Lower Egypt, known as Tamehu, meaning land of the north, stood in stark contrast to its southern counterpart. The Nile Delta, a vast expanse of fertile land crisscrossed by a network of canals and lagoons, offered abundant resources and a more temperate climate. This region, open to the Mediterranean Sea, became a melting pot of cultures, influenced by trade and interactions with neighbouring civilizations. The people of Lower Egypt, surrounded by water, developed a close relationship with the sea and its bounty. The fertile lands of Lower Egypt supported a denser population compared to the south, leading to the development of larger settlements and more complex social structures. The abundance of resources and the opportunities for trade fostered economic prosperity and cultural exchange, making Lower Egypt a hub of innovation and artistic expression. Among the many artifacts unearthed from the sands of time, few hold the historical weight of the Narmer palette. This intricately carved stone slab, dating back to around 3100 BC, provides a tangible link between pre-dynastic Egypt and the dawn of the First Dynasty. On its surface, the palette depicts a king, widely believed to be Narmer, wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt and, in another scene, the red crown of Lower Egypt. This dual depiction is highly significant, suggesting Narmer's role in unifying the two lands under his rule, marking a pivotal moment in Egyptian history. Beyond its political implications, the Narmer palette offers valuable insights into the artistic conventions and religious beliefs of the time. The figures are depicted in a distinctive style, with exaggerated proportions and a profile view, a hallmark of Egyptian art that would endure for centuries. The presence of mythical creatures, such as intertwined serpents and a bull trampling its enemies, hints at the developing religious beliefs of the period, with animals playing a prominent role in their cosmology. This artifact, therefore, serves as a window into a pivotal moment in Egyptian history, capturing the essence of a society on the cusp of a new era. Pre-dynastic Egypt's ingenuity and resilience laid the groundwork for one of history's most enduring civilizations. From Badarian culture to Naqada societies, their innovations in agriculture, pottery and metalworking paved the way for the pharaohs. Their legacy is a testament to human creativity, shaping the course of history. Pre-dynastic Egypt, often shrouded in mystery, laid the foundation for a great civilization. From humble farmers to skilled artisans, their innovations echo through time. They transformed the landscape into a cradle of civilization. Their legacy is a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. As we marvel at ancient Egypt, remember those pioneers. The Nile, a river that flows north, bringing life to a desert. For thousands of years it shaped Egypt, its floods both awe-inspiring and essential. From fertile delta to arid desert, the Nile is a lifeline. The Nile's bounty allowed for the development of one of the world's first civilizations. Ancient Egypt, a land of pharaohs, pyramids and powerful gods, emerged from the fertile banks of this mighty river. The Nile's waters provided sustenance, its floods brought fertility, and its navigable waters facilitated trade and communication. This allowed for the growth of cities, the development of complex social structures, and the flourishing of art, science and religion. The ancient Egyptians lived in harmony with the river's rhythm, adapting their lives to its ebb and flow. Their calendar, their agriculture, and even their beliefs were intertwined with the Nile's cycles. It was more than just a river. It was the very foundation of their existence. To the ancient Egyptians, the Nile was not merely a river, it was a divine entity, a god whose benevolence sustained their very existence. They called him Hapi, the god of the annual flood, depicted as a benevolent figure with a large belly and pendulous breasts, symbolizing fertility and abundance. Temples were erected in his honor, and elaborate rituals were performed to appease him and ensure the timely arrival of the annual flood. Offerings of food, flowers, and precious metals were made, and hymns were sung praising his life-giving waters. The pharaoh, considered the divine ruler and intermediary between the gods and the people, played a crucial role in these rituals. His connection to the divine was believed to influence the Nile's favor, ensuring the prosperity of the land and its people. The Nile's annual flood cycle dictated life in ancient Egypt. It marked the start of the agricultural year. Egyptians created a calendar based on its 3 seasons. Akhet, the inundation season, was a time of celebration. The Nile's silt renewed the land's vitality. Pere, the growing season, followed. Shemu, the harvest season, marked abundance and gratitude. The cultural significance of the Nile is deeply etched into the very fabric of ancient Egyptian civilization. It is evident in their art, their architecture, and their beliefs. Tomb paintings depict scenes of life along the riverbanks, showcasing the abundance it brought. Monumental architecture, such as the pyramids and temples, were often aligned with the Nile's flow, further emphasizing its centrality in their worldview. The orientation of these structures suggests a deep reverence for the river's journey from south to north, mirroring the sun's path across the sky. The Nile's influence extended even to the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that the soul, after death, journeyed westward across the Nile, mirroring the sun's journey into the underworld. This belief is reflected in the layout of tombs and the placement of funerary goods. The ancient Egyptians wove intricate myths to explain the Nile's floods. One such myth tells of Isis and her beloved Osiris. Osiris, murdered by his brother Set, was dismembered. Isis searched tirelessly for his remains. Her tears overflowed the Nile, causing the annual flood. Each year her tears replenished the land, bringing life to Egypt. Another legend tells of Sekhmet, the fierce lion goddess of war and healing, and her role in the Nile's floods. According to the myth, Sekhmet, enraged by the disrespect shown to her father, the sun god Ra, unleashed her fiery wrath upon humanity. Her fury was so intense that she scorched the earth, turning the Nile blood red. Fearing for the annihilation of humankind, Ra intervened, tricking Sekhmet into drinking a vast quantity of beer mixed with red ochre, resembling blood. Intoxicated, Sekhmet's rage subsided and she transformed into Hathor, the benevolent goddess of love and music. The red-tinged beer, symbolizing the floodwaters, flowed from her, replenishing the Nile and saving humanity from her wrath. The Nile's significance transcended the earthly realm, playing a crucial role in the Egyptian afterlife beliefs. They believed that the Nile flowed through the underworld, the Duat, providing sustenance to the souls residing there. The deceased, embarking on their perilous journey through the underworld, relied on the Nile's waters for sustenance and guidance. Funerary texts, such as the Book of the Dead, contain spells and hymns meant to ensure safe passage across the celestial Nile. The Nile, in this context, represented not only physical sustenance but also spiritual renewal and rebirth. Just as it brought life to the land of Egypt, it also nourished the souls in the afterlife, ensuring their continued existence in the realm beyond death. The lifeblood of ancient Egypt, the Nile's annual flood, was a spectacle as predictable as the rising sun. Every year, like clockwork, the river would swell, engulfing its banks and transforming the arid landscape into a fertile expanse of water. This inundation, far from being feared, was eagerly anticipated. The ancient Egyptians, with their keen sense of observation, had developed a deep understanding of the river's rhythm. They knew that the flood, though appearing destructive, was the source of their prosperity. The floodwaters, originating from the heavy rains in the Ethiopian highlands, would arrive in Egypt around June, reaching their peak in September. As the waters receded, they left behind a rich deposit of silt, a fertile layer of sediment that acted as a natural fertilizer. The ancient Egyptians recognized the source of their bounty, referring to the southern lands as Taseti, meaning the land of the bow. They understood that the floods were a gift from these distant lands. Expeditions were sent south to explore the river's origins, seeking to understand the forces that governed its flow. These journeys, though fraught with peril, provided valuable knowledge about the Nile's tributaries and the annual rainfall patterns that dictated the flood's intensity. The Egyptians developed sophisticated systems to measure the Nile's rise and fall, constructing nilometers, graduated stone structures placed within the river or nearby wells. These structures allowed them to predict the height of the flood and anticipate the year's harvest. The Nile's annual flood cycle, predictable and life-giving, shaped the rhythm of life in ancient Egypt. It dictated the agricultural calendar, the construction projects, and even the religious festivals. During the inundation, when the fields were submerged, farmers would engage in other activities, like repairing their tools, tending to their livestock, or working on construction projects for the pharaoh. The flood season provided a period of relative respite from the demanding work of agriculture. As the floodwaters receded, the land, rejuvenated by the rich silt deposits, was ready for planting. Farmers would sow their crops, anticipating a bountiful harvest in the months to come. The success of their harvest depended on the Nile's generosity, a testament to their symbiotic relationship with the river. The lifeblood of ancient Egypt's agriculture was not just the Nile's water, but the rich, fertile silt it deposited with each annual flood. This black, nutrient-rich sediment, carried from the highlands of Ethiopia, held the key to the civilization's agricultural success. Unlike the alluvial soils of other river valleys, which often required years of cultivation to become fertile, the Nile's silt was immediately productive. As the floodwaters receded, they left behind a layer of this fertile sediment, ready to nourish a variety of crops. The Egyptians recognized the silt's importance, referring to it as Kemet, which means black land, a testament to its fertility and their connection to it. This black soil stood in stark contrast to the Deshret, the red land of the surrounding desert, highlighting its life-giving properties. To maximize the benefits of the Nile's annual inundation, the ancient Egyptians developed an ingenious system of basin irrigation. This method involved dividing the land into a series of rectangular basins, surrounded by earthen dikes, to capture and hold the floodwaters. As the Nile rose, water would be channeled into these basins through a network of canals, carefully controlled to ensure even distribution. The floodwaters, laden with silt, would be allowed to sit in these basins for several weeks, saturating the soil and depositing their fertile load. Once the floodwaters receded, the basins, now filled with moist, fertile soil, were ready for planting. Farmers would sow a variety of crops, including barley, wheat, flax, and vegetables, taking advantage of the naturally irrigated and fertilized land. Egyptians developed perennial irrigation for year-round cultivation. This allowed them to grow crops even during the dry season. The shaduf, a lever system, was commonly used to lift water. Canals and ditches channeled water from the Nile to fields. These ingenious irrigation techniques, coupled with the fertile Nile silt, allowed the ancient Egyptians to cultivate a diverse range of crops, sustaining a large population and contributing to the civilization's prosperity. The staple crops of ancient Egypt were barley and wheat, used to make bread, beer and porridge. Flax, another important crop, was used to produce linen, a valuable textile for clothing and other purposes. Vegetables such as onions, garlic, lentils and lettuce added variety to their diet. The Egyptians also cultivated a variety of fruits, including grapes, figs, dates and pomegranates, which provided essential vitamins and sweetness. These fruits, often depicted in tomb paintings and offerings to the gods, were highly valued and considered symbols of abundance and prosperity. The Nile, once a force of nature, entered a new era in the 20th century, the age of dams. The Aswan High Dam, completed in 1970, altered the river's natural flood cycle. It brought significant changes, including irrigation, hydroelectric power and flood control. However, the dam's construction came at a cost. The silt now trapped no longer replenished farmlands downstream. The end of the natural flood cycle brought about a new set of challenges. The once fertile soils, deprived of the annual silt deposits, became increasingly saline and less productive over time. The absence of the flood's natural flushing action led to the build-up of salts in the soil, impacting crop yields. The construction of the Aswan High Dam, while providing undeniable benefits, also had ecological consequences. The Nile Delta, once a vibrant ecosystem nourished by the annual influx of nutrients, began to erode, deprived of the silt that once replenished its shores. The dam also impacted the populations of certain fish species, like the sardine, which relied on the annual flood cycle for their breeding grounds. The altered flow of the Nile disrupted their migration patterns, leading to a decline in their numbers. The Nile, the river that gave birth to Egyptian civilization, continues to flow, a silent witness to time's passage. Its legacy is etched into the soul of Egypt. The ancient Egyptians' reverence and ingenious methods inspire awe. The Nile's story reminds us of nature's power and our responsibility. Ancient Egypt was a land of mystery and wonder. Its civilization flourished along the banks of the Nile River, creating a rich tapestry of culture, art and religion that continues to captivate us today. The Egyptians worshipped many gods, each with their own unique attributes and stories. These deities played a crucial role in the daily lives of the people, influencing everything from the harvest to the afterlife. One of the most important and revered of these gods was Ra, the sun god. Ra was often depicted with the head of a falcon, crowned with a sun disk, symbolizing his dominion over the sky and the sun. Ra was the giver of life. He brought warmth and light to the world, essential for the growth of crops and the sustenance of life. Every day, Ra would travel across the sky in his solar boat, bringing daylight to the world. Egyptians believed he controlled the seasons, ensuring the cyclical nature of life and death. They also believed he protected them from evil forces, such as the serpent Apep, who threatened to plunge the world into chaos. Ra was a powerful deity, and his worship was central to Egyptian religion. Temples dedicated to Ra were built across the land, and priests performed daily rituals to honor him and ensure his favor. His influence can be seen in many aspects of Egyptian culture, from the grand architecture of temples and pyramids to the intricate carvings and paintings that adorn their walls. Ra's presence was ever present. From art and architecture to religion and mythology, Ra left an undeniable mark on ancient Egypt. His legacy continues to be a source of fascination and inspiration, reminding us of the enduring power of the sun and the gods who once ruled the land of the pharaohs. Egyptian mythology is full of fascinating stories. One story tells of Ra's birth. He emerged from the primordial waters of Nun. Nun represented chaos. Ra's birth symbolized the emergence of order from chaos. He created himself. This demonstrated his immense power. Ra was not alone in the universe. He created other gods and goddesses. Shu was the god of air. Tefnut was the goddess of moisture. Together, they helped Ra to establish the world as we know it. Ra was believed to travel across the sky each day in his solar boat. He sailed from east to west. This journey represented the cycle of day and night. Each morning Ra rose from the underworld. He brought light and warmth to the land. In the evening, Ra descended into the underworld. There he battled Apophis, the serpent of chaos. Apophis sought to devour the sun and plunge the world into darkness. Ra's victory each night ensured the continuation of life and order. Ra possessed a powerful weapon, the Eye of Ra. This was a powerful symbol in Egyptian mythology. It represented Ra's immense power and protection. The Eye of Ra could unleash devastating destruction upon Ra's enemies. The Eye of Ra was also associated with goddesses like Sekhmet and Bastet. They acted as Ra's protectors. They could be fierce and vengeful when necessary. This highlighted the dual nature of Ra's power. He was both benevolent and fearsome, embodying both creation and destruction. Ra was more than just a sun god. He was also considered the king of the gods. He was responsible for maintaining order and justice. The pharaohs of Egypt were believed to be Ra's representatives on earth. They derived their authority from him. Ra's reign brought prosperity to Egypt. He provided sunlight for the crops. He ensured the annual flooding of the Nile River. This was essential for agriculture. Ra's rule was seen as a time of peace and abundance. Ra was worshipped throughout ancient Egypt. Temples were built in his honor. Heliopolis, the city of the sun, was a major center of Ra worship. People gathered at these temples to offer prayers and sacrifices to the sun god. Religious rituals were performed daily to honor Ra. Priests played a crucial role in these ceremonies. They made offerings of food, drink, and incense to the god. They also chanted hymns and performed dances. The ancient Egyptians used many symbols to represent Ra. The most common was the sun disk. It was often depicted with rays of light emanating from it. This symbolized Ra's life-giving energy. Obelisks, tall four-sided pillars, were also associated with Ra. They were often erected in pairs at the entrances to temples. The phoenix, a mythical bird that rose from its own ashes, was another symbol of Ra. It represented rebirth and renewal. Ra was frequently depicted in ancient Egyptian art. His presence was ubiquitous, symbolizing not just his divine status, but also the central role he played in the daily lives of the ancient Egyptians. He was often shown as a man with the head of a falcon. This unique depiction was not arbitrary, it was deeply symbolic. The falcon, a bird of prey, represented keen vision and dominance, qualities attributed to Ra. This symbolized his strength and his association with the sky. The sky was seen as a vast, powerful domain, and Ra, as the sun god, was believed to traverse it daily, bringing light and life to the world. Ra was also shown wearing the sun disk on his head. This sun disk was more than just an ornament. It was a potent symbol of his role as the sun god, the source of all energy and life. The colours gold and red were commonly used in depictions of Ra. Gold, with its radiant and unchanging nature, was associated with the eternal and divine aspects of Ra. Gold represented the sun's radiance. It was a colour that conveyed the brilliance and the life-giving power of the sun, which Ra embodied. Red symbolised the sun's heat and power. It was a colour that evoked the intense energy and the life-sustaining warmth of the sun, attributes that were central to Ra's identity. Ra's image was everywhere in ancient Egypt. From the grand temples to the humble homes, his depictions served as a constant reminder of his omnipresence and his vital role in the cosmos. It served as a constant reminder of his power and presence. The ancient Egyptians believed that by venerating Ra through art, they could ensure his favour and maintain the balance of the world. His depictions were not just artistic expressions, but were integral to the spiritual and cultural fabric of ancient Egyptian society. Ra's influence on ancient Egyptian culture was profound. His worship shaped religious beliefs and practices for centuries. The pharaohs based their authority on their connection to Ra. Egyptian art and architecture were filled with symbols of the sun god. Even after the decline of ancient Egypt, Ra's legacy lived on. His story continued to fascinate people. He became a subject of study for scholars and historians. His image appeared in literature, art, and popular culture. Ra, the Egyptian sun god, remains an enduring symbol of ancient Egyptian civilization. His influence can be seen in the art, architecture, and religious practices that have survived through the ages. The reverence for Ra was not just limited to the elite or the priests. It permeated every level of society, from the grand temples to the humble homes of ordinary Egyptians. He represents the power of the sun, the importance of order, and the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. The sun's daily journey across the sky was a powerful metaphor for the cycle of life, a reminder that each day brought new opportunities and challenges. Ra's presence in the sky was a constant source of inspiration and hope for the people, reinforcing the idea that light would always triumph over darkness. His story continues to captivate us. The myths and legends surrounding Ra are filled with rich symbolism and profound lessons that resonate even today. From his battles with the serpent Apep to his role in the creation of the world, Ra's narrative is a testament to the human desire to understand the mysteries of existence and the forces that shape our lives. Ra's journey across the sky reminded the ancient Egyptians of the importance of light and warmth. The sun was not just a source of physical sustenance, but also a symbol of spiritual enlightenment and growth. The daily rise and set of the sun were seen as a divine performance, a celestial drama that played out in the heavens and mirrored the human experience on earth. It also reminded them of the constant battle between order and chaos. Ra's nightly journey through the underworld, where he fought against the forces of darkness, was a powerful allegory for the struggles that each person faced in their own life. This eternal conflict between light and dark, order and chaos, was central to the Egyptian worldview and influenced their understanding of morality, justice, and the afterlife. Ra's legacy is a testament to the power of ancient Egyptian beliefs and their ability to endure across millennia. The stories and symbols associated with Ra have transcended time, continuing to inspire and fascinate people around the world. Whether through the majestic pyramids that stand as a tribute to his glory, or the intricate hieroglyphs that tell his tale, Ra's influence is a reminder of the enduring power of human imagination and the quest for meaning in the universe.